headed into Championship in Hertfordshire, and Vicarage Road is our venue for the live and exclusive national radio commentary as Watford host Blackburn on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2.
Have a listen to this. Hornets fans in dreamland. Watford 4, QPR 0.
We know that we are in a transition period. As you saw, we had a big clear out.
And the low shot is fired in, and it's an absolutely brilliant goal for Blackburn Rovers.
If we look at the points we had more points last season, but we were playing way poor.
And the high ball to the far post. Loser is there with the volley, and he scored. And that's the moment that Watford were looking for.
We have to change the way to play. We have to change the mindset. You have to change the player.
He's able to cut it back to Dolan on the edge of the penalty. Right foot shot from him comes back off the post.
I must give the boys a big compliment because they've been creating a lot of chances, but they need to put it into the net.
Ken Senna puts it in, and midway through the first half, Watford score with their first shot of the game.
We have to be intense. We'll have to press. We'll have to play. So we have to be on the point from the first minute.
Another massive day of Sunday sport to come. Good morning to you from Vicarage Road, high up at the back of the Elton John stand, live here on Talksport 2. This is Joe Shannon with full commentary to come of Watford against Blackburn Rovers. Two clubs with bold ambitions in the cauldron of excitement that is the Championship. We are about 13 minutes away from kick-off here, live on Talksport 2. We've got Summer Nation Series rugby coming up for you. France against Australia from 4:30, ahead of France hosting the Rugby World Cup, of course, from 7. We've got live coverage of the Tour Championship at East Lake Golf Club in Atlanta, here on Talksport 2, and over on Talksport from 1:30. The Sunday session takes you around the grounds in the Premier League. Burnley against Aston Villa, Sheffield United against Manchester City, Newcastle against Liverpool, and they'll bring you updates of the Dutch Grand Prix as well. To stay across everything, make sure you download the Talksport app. You can swipe between both stations and all of our live sport at your leisure. Well, here we go for Watford. A new season, yet another new boss. Valérien Ismaël, the latest man tasked with delivering a Premier League return. 4 points from 3 games so far for them. Likewise, Blackburn Rovers, their brightest day of top flight glory, of course, in 1995 when they won the Premier League. Feels an achingly long time ago now. But in John Dahl Tomasson, they have a head coach hopeful of delivering this year, albeit with a very young side. New recruits are required, you feel, if Rovers are to mount a challenge as they bid for a Premier League return for the first time in 11 years. Let's bring you the team news. 3 changes to the Watford side beaten at Stoke last Saturday, a performance that displeased Valérien Ismaël. Loser, Livermore and Morris all dropped to the bench. We'll give you more on Imran Loser's situation at Watford in just a moment, but Kayembe, Asprilla and Kone are the 3 who come in. It's Asprilla's first league start of the season. Backman in goal, Andrews, Porteous, Hoot and Sema now playing at left back. Asprilla, Kayembe and Denny Bashiru in midfield. Kone, Martins and Bayo up front. The new signing for Watford, Mileta Rajovic, is among the subs. The sub goalkeeper is Hamer, and the rest of the players on the bench: Ngakia, Ince, Livermore, Rajovic, Loser, Pollock, Chakvetadze and Morris. For Blackburn Rovers, a single change to the side beaten at home by Hull City last Saturday, a game in which they were leading for a long period, having been down to 10 men following the sending off of Harry Pickering, but they conceded 2 goals in the final last 9 minutes to fall to defeat. So with Pickering suspended, Callum Britton comes in at left back. It's Pears in goal, Rankin, Costello, Carter, Hyam and Britton the defenders. Travis and Wharton in midfield, that's Adam Wharton, Hedges, Smodix and Dolan behind Harry Leonard up front. The Blackburn subs: Waldstedt the goalkeeper, Tronstadt, Gallagher, Gamble, Scott Wharton, Markandai, Morgan and Moran, Garrett and young Tom Glockson. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former Sheffield United women's striker, is alongside me, Joe Shannon, here at Vicarage Road. Courtney, kick-off just a few moments away. Cloudy skies up ahead, but we're looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we are, especially me. My first one back in the Championship after coming back from Australia.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's nice to be back, despite the weather.
Absolutely. Well, look, Courtney's been out and about down under, bringing us all the very latest from the England women's camp after the Lionesses' run to the final at the World Cup. And yes, back here in the Championship for Watford against Blackburn. Courtney, on the team news, this is what Valérien Ismail's had to say about Imran Louza, who's been left on the Watford bench today. We have our rules for the players and everyone must respect them all the time. Imran knows why he's on the bench today rather than starting the game. Now, we don't know exactly what's happened, but those comments from Valérien Ismail, who is known to be a disciplinarian, early in the job at Watford, maybe looking to stamp his authority on this squad, it suggests that there has been some sort of disciplinary issue.
Yeah, we don't know what it is. I think the first thing that I said and sprung to mind was he late like Marcus Rashford? Obviously, like I say, we don't know exactly what's gone on, but I think, look, there's rules in place in any team. You have to abide by them, regardless of, you know, for Louza, he's probably the best midfield player that Watford have got. But as you say, Ismail as well, he's early in his tenure here and probably wants to stamp down his authority as well and make sure that the players know their place.
Watford's 10th head coach since 2018. Is he going to be the man who finally gets some time in the job?
I very much doubt it. I think, you know, you'd want him to. I think any Watford fan would want the managers to get a bit more time, but I just think that isn't, you know, how this club is run now, how it works. So, you know, in a few weeks, a few games, if they're not seeing what they want in the hierarchy, then I think it will be follow the pattern of very much what we've seen from Watford. They'll sack him and get someone else in, unfortunately.
Well, they had 3 managers last season, finished 11th in their first season back in the Championship after relegation from the Premier League. Let's hear from the Watford boss, Valérien Ismail, now. He is confident he can bring success back to the club.
It's a different challenge for sure, but we are aligned together. So this is the main message from me. I think that from day one we thought it could be an excellent fit, and I think now throughout the pre-season the feeling got bigger and bigger that we can build something together. And with the start we made against QPR, it just shows if we have time to develop, to create, to reshape the things at the club, then we will have success. And this is my feeling. This is the same feeling for the club. So now it's all about to take game one by one, to improve, to continue to work hard every day, to come in with the clear purpose to improve. And at some point we will be ready to compete with all our strength, all the player at 100%.
That is the Watford boss, Valérien Ismail, and Watford have boosted their forward ranks this week. The signing of the young Danish forward Mileta Rajovic from the Swedish team Kalmar, and that a good boost for Watford, who haven't scored in their last 2 matches. Rajovic is Watford's new number 9. He is on the bench today. Right, it's time to get the latest odds with 888 Sport. A Watford win, 23-20. The draw at 5-2. Blackburn Rovers to win this lunchtime, 11-5. If you want over 2.5 goals, you can get odds of 7-10. Under 2.5 evens. Both teams to score, yes, 8-13. No, 23-20. And first goal scorer odds, Bakun Bayo 5-1 on to open the scoring for Watford this lunchtime. Harry Leonard of Blackburn at 13-2. And Mateus Martins has got 1 goal so far this season, the Brazilian loanee. 15-2 to open the scoring. Those were the very latest odds with 888 Sport. Gamble responsibly. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. Big crowd at Vicarage Road expected today. Still plenty of empty seats, but they are slowly filing their way in with kick-off, just over 5 minutes away here, live on Talksport 2. We keep getting intermittent sunshine, but there are plenty of clouds overhead just for the moment. It's worth saying, actually, a few moments ago on the big screen, Watford paying tribute to their legendary goalkeeper Andy Rankin, who also you might remember used to play for Everton in the 1970s as well. Andy Rankin has very sadly passed away earlier this week, and his photo is up on the big screen, and there have been a number of tributes today. Tributes too for the former Watford player Jimmy Davis, who died tragically young 20 years ago now, when he was just a young player at this club. And the former Manchester United youth teammate of Jimmy Davis, Danny Webber, is here today, as is the ex-Watford captain Neil Cox. So condolences to the families and friends of both, and both will be long remembered. Watford against Blackburn Rovers is our commentary today on your home of the EFL. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, formerly of Sheffield United, is with me. Courtney, in terms of Blackburn, well, they're very much a team in transition, aren't they? Some key players leaving the club over the summer, and John Dahl Thomason has said this week, quite simply, if they want to challenge, they need new players in. Yeah,
and maybe that's a bit of a himself imploring the board, really. We know there's a financial cutbacks at Ewood Park, but they've lost so much experience and goals within that side, so it's managing that expectation, isn't it? And giving John Dahl Thomason as well something to work with, so we all know in terms of football how it works, and you've got to live by your means to a certain extent, but also you need to get players through the door, and if they really want to challenge again this season, then they're definitely going to need some more experience in that team.
Well, in terms of how they finished last season, really it was a poor run towards the end of the campaign that ultimately saw them miss out on the playoff places. What is a good season for Blackburn Rovers this year? What will John Dahl Thomason consider to be a good season?
Yeah, I mean, the fans will want to finish as high as possible. I think realistically they will think playoffs. Whether John Dahl Thomason will think that, maybe mid-table, but I think realistically for them, they're looking at the playoffs. Are they going to go and blitz this league and finish in automatic? In the state that they're in, certainly not. And I think that consistency is something that needs to come with it as well, because even last season we saw it, win-loss for how many games? I think 10 games. So there needs to be a bit more consistency within this team.
And both sides inconsistent so far this season. Both have 4 points after 3 games, both in mid-table, but this lunchtime on Talksport 2, the chance to move closer to the Championship playoff places. Early days in the new season, of course, but optimism for both Watford and Blackburn Rovers. Can they challenge this year? The two teams are emerging from the tunnel, and kickoff is just moments away on Talksport 2.
EFL Live on Talksport 2.
Summer's the season when you get serious about food. Barbecue for breakfast? Serious. Midday munch at the market? Serious. And 14 small plates at a tiny tasting bar? Maybe too serious. Sometimes you want to keep it light, like a chill meal with good mates, uplifting vibes, and the refreshing lemon and lime taste of 7-Up Zero Sugar. 7-Up Zero Sugar. Taste that lifts you up. Grab one today.
On DAB+, online, via the TalkSport app, and on your smart speaker. EFL Live on TalkSport 2.
Here we go, live on Talksport 2. It is Watford against Blackburn Rovers on your home of the EFL. The two sides are out onto the field of play. Watford have got the tracksuit tops on, but they'll soon unfurl those to reveal the gold shirts beneath those. And Blackburn Rovers in their familiar colours of blue and white. To remind you, the two teams, Backman is the Watford goalkeeper, Andrews, Porteous, Hoot, and 7 of the defenders. Asprilla, Kayembe, and Deli Bashiru in midfield. Kone, Bayo and Martins up front. For Blackburn, pairs in goal, Rankin, Costello, Carter, Hyam and Britton the back four. Travis and Wharton in midfield, that's Adam Wharton. Hedges, Smodics and Dolan in support of Harry Leonard up front. I'm Joe Shannon. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former Sheffield United women's striker, is alongside me. Courtney, it's a chance for both sides really to kick-start their season, you feel?
Yeah, it is. Both of these teams started off with a win and started off positively within the Championship season, and it's sort of tailed off more recently, so both teams will be looking to gain a bit of confidence and get another win back on the board.
Well, the two skippers are posing on the halfway line with the mascots and the match officials. Lewis Travis and Daniel Backman, the Watford skipper these days. And we mentioned the very sad passing this week of Andy Rankin, one of Watford's finest goalkeepers, 329 appearances in 8 years at the club. And both sets of players are gathering at the lip of the centre circle as Watford prepare to play a fitting tribute to a legend of Vicarage Road.
329 appearances, the most famous of which came away to Manchester United as part of an October 78 League Cup giant killing, in which he made a stunning and crucial save from Gordon McQueen's late header. Please join us now in paying tribute to a true Watford legend with a minute's applause that will begin on the referee's whistle.
the sound of applause echoes around Vicarage Road, and now the sound of Elton John, who is a constant visual presence in this stadium as you come in through the media entrance, and his picture is on murals in the concourses as well. We are sitting in the very back of the Elton John stand, just to the right of the halfway line, and we are about to get off and underway on your home of the EFL, live and exclusive to national radio. It is Talksport 2. It is Watford against Blackburn Rovers. So much live sport across the course of the week, and indeed today, Summer Nations Series Rugby, France against Australia here at 4:45. We've got PGA Tour golf at 7. Talksport will keep you up to date with all of the Premier League goals as they go in. Tuesday and Wednesday, we have commentaries from the Carabao Cup. Off and underway here. Blackburn on the attack, playing from right to left in the first half towards the rookery end of the stadium, and an early touch for the Watford goalkeeper Dan Bachman, spreading himself at the feet of Harry Leonard to get to that threaded ball inside the penalty area from Joe Rankin Costello. There's a Watford player down straight away. It's Wesley Hoot, the Dutch centre-half, and the referee has stopped the game. Gavin Ward is the man in the middle. Blackburn playing from right to left, as I say, in the blue and white halved shirts, white shorts and blue socks, and Watford in the yellow and black shirts, black shorts and yellow socks. And play is restarted with Hoot back on his feet. Watford playing from left to right in the first half towards the Vicarage Road end of the stadium, which is split between home and away fans. It's certainly not full today, well under the 21,577 capacity, but it's an atmospheric arena here, and Blackburn enjoying the early possession with a minute gone. Watford 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. An early touch for the Blackburn left back Callum Britton, playing the ball infield to Adam Wharton in the middle of midfield. He's been linked with Everton so far this season, and now Rankin Costello bursting into opposition territory, laying it towards the right hand side. He was looking for the run of Ryan Hedges, swept away downfield by Wesley Hoot, only as far as the halfway line. Hayden Carter, the big defender, is there to meet it for Blackburn. I can see the Watford boss Valerian Ismail, arms folded on the near side touchline. Harry Leonard for Blackburn inside the penalty area with his back to goal, sets up Joe Rankin Costello down the Rovers left as the sun comes out in Hertfordshire. Ken Semmer is back defending. He's a player who knows the left back position well, Ken Semmer, despite really being more a forward player, and he's knocked the ball off the shins of Rankin Costello. It's out of play for a Watford goal kick, and here's Courtney Sweetman-Kerr.
I think that's a really positive start from Blackburn, playing out. Started in their penalty box. It's a really nice move, quickly playing off 1 and 2 touch, and I think especially down that right hand side, Blackburn will have a lot of joy today, because Hedges and Rankin Costello both very technically good on the ball, and Rankin Costello loves to join in on the attack.
Both sides mid-table after the opening 3 games, and in fact they've had they have had identical patterns of results. A win on the opening weekend, a draw on the second match day, and both beaten last time out. Now we've got bright sunshine at Vicarage Road and a sweeping wind that's cutting through the air. Watford have possession in the middle of midfield with Ryan Andrews, and he's given it away. Leonard's won it back for Blackburn Rovers, who lost key players over the summer, the likes of Ben Brereton Diaz, Bradley Dack, and the goalkeeper Thomas Kaminski, all moving on to pastures new. So replicating last season's 7th place finish is going to be tough, you feel, for the head coach John Dahl-Thomason. 3 minutes gone, Watford 0, Blackburn 0.
Yeah, it was, and I think obviously the attacking talent, Bradley Dack, I know he didn't play a lot due to injury, obviously Ben Brereton Diaz, but Kaminski for me is was one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship, so he's certainly a massive loss. But I think Rovers so far, from what I've seen in these opening exchanges, are doing well. They look expansive, obviously a very young team, and they're in a transition phase. It's going to be a lot of growth that it's going to take for them, and there'll be a lot of learning along the way.
Here come Watford on the far side there, left with Semmer down by the corner flag in front of that 2-tiered Graham Taylor stand, and a late challenge on Ken Semmer, and the referee Gavin Ward has come across, and he's given Watford a free kick here in a dangerous position, as I say, just a couple of yards or so from that corner flag. It was Luis Chavez who committed the foul.
It's a really good run from Semmer. I don't know if he strayed offside, it looked like it initially, but was played on and then does really well to chop back and draws the foul almost in the corner position.
Well, Watford looking to build some early momentum here. They hit 4 at Vicarage Road on the opening weekend in the defeat of Queen's Park Rangers. They were held to a goalless draw here by Plymouth before losing at Stoke last Saturday. 3 changes made by Valérien Ismaël this lunchtime, including leaving Imran Louza on the bench. A Watford free kick whipped in high into the edge of the 6-yard box and a flicked header clear by the big striker Leonard, 19 years of age. It's a young Blackburn team, but they trust in youth in the Blackburn Rovers Academy, and it's been an academy that has brought them plenty of talent over the years, and it's an academy that's going to need to continue to deliver in terms of the way things are going with the budget cuts and the lack of ability to buy key players. As the crossfield ball from Ryan Porteous for Watford, it high on the diagonal towards the far side, the left, evades Mateus Martins, and it's out of play for a Blackburn throw in the right back position, 0-0 on Talksport 2.
But I do think that's a way that Watford can exploit Blackburn. As I said, going forward, Rankin Costello, he'll want to join Hedges, but sometimes just gets a little bit too ahead of himself, and you see there is space behind Rankin Costello, so if they can find Martins with the right ball, Watford, then it'll give them a very good opportunity.
We are right at the back of the Elton John stand. The dugouts are down below us, about 15-20 rows below. A steep drop to the near side touchline, and John Dahl Thomason stands in a sky blue jumper with his arms folded. Watford have possession with Kayembe, had to slide in there to beat Sammy Smodics to the ball. Smodics has made a good start to the season with 2 goals in his first 3 appearances of the campaign, and Watford now have it with Kayembe on halfway, and he finds Yasser Asprilla moving from the right into a central position, and now Wesley Hoot out to the far side, and Mateus Martins infield, the Brazilian loanee on loan from Udinese, who are a club of course very closely associated with Watford because of the links between the owners of Watford, who also own Udinese. And now Hoot midway inside his own half again. It's Watford who are enjoying most of the possession so far, but we haven't seen a clear-cut chance created by either team. Courtney.
No, we haven't, but I've just been watching the movement of Bayo, whether he's checking in now just to try and play forward and be that link player, and as well now in behind his constant threat, whether it be on the shoulder or coming into feet. And you know, if they can find him with some quality, we know that then he's got the clinical nature to finish.
Tom Hyam, the former Coventry defender, has knocked the ball out of play. It's a Watford throw, near side there right, about 5 yards or so from the corner flag. Blackburn fans, despite the early start, have travelled in good numbers. Close to 1,000 away supporters behind the goal. Martins, edge of the box, shoots for Watford, and that's an excellent block. Sliding in the number 2 for Blackburn in blue and white, Callum Britton. Watford have made a positive start. They have a corner, their second of the game so far, 0-0.
Yeah, and that block was certainly needed. It looked like it was travelling towards goal, but it's a fantastic block, getting your body on the line and cutting out the danger.
Just 2 home league defeats in the whole of 2023 for Watford, and the most recent of those was in April. Blackburn have not been particularly impressive on the road over the last few months. Only 1 away league win since February. Corner whipped into the near post. It's a poor delivery in the end by Sema and cleared away easily by Travis for Blackburn. Up towards the halfway line where Watford quickly regained possession, and now the field of play is bathed in lovely bright sunshine. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside me. Courtney, welcome back after your travels down under following the Lionesses. I hope you're still awake, just about. Yeah, I've managed to bypass the jet lag so far, so hopefully it stays that way. That's a relief. Here is Bayo down the near side, the Watford right, and he's tackled by Callum Britton, who pokes the ball behind. Watford win another corner. Can they make something of these set plays, of which they've managed to force 3 in the opening 8 minutes? Neither goalkeepers really had a touch of the ball, actually. The 2 number 1s, Daniel Backman, the Watford captain, and very much the number 1 at Blackburn now, having waited patiently for his chance. Ainsley Pears, who did make 18 league appearances last season. Corner drifted in by Asprilla towards Hoots at the far post, and he rose high with Rankin Costello, but the Blackburn right back did enough, and it's gone out of play for a goal kick. Yeah, and I think Watford will be happy with their response. I think Blackburn in the opening few minutes probably started the slightly better team, but Watford are now finding the rhythm. Bayo, I'm enjoying watching again. That corner came from him running on the back shoulder of Britton, and I don't quite think they know what to do with him. He's so dynamic. A win for either team would move them to within 2 points of the Championship's top 6. Only Leicester City have a 100% record in the Championship so far this season. 4 wins from 4, with Norwich, Birmingham, Southampton and Preston all unbeaten and having won 3 of their first 4 championship matches. Sheffield Wednesday, the only team who are pointless, and the Owls sit bottom of the table. Hoot on the halfway line, that's a threaded pass low down the inside right channel. Across comes Hayden Carter to sweep it away in front of Kone. Kone, the Canadian internationals, won it back for Watford though. He sets up Martins, 25 yards from goal, looking to wriggle away from the challenge of Travis. Travis snapping at his heels. Martins holds on to possession but plays it backwards to Kayembe on the halfway line. And now Wesley Hoot in the yellow and black of Watford. A floated ball up that far side again. Looks for Sema. Sema miscontrols. Rankin Costello will steer the ball out of play. Watford have a throw level with the 18-yard box, and Valérien Ismaël, I think, promised improvements after defeat at Stoke last Saturday, and Watford have certainly started positively in the opening 10 minutes on Talksport 2, but it remains goalless against Blackburn here.
Yeah, they have. They're keeping on the pressure as well. Blackburn are really struggling to get out of their own half at the moment.
Good turn by Martins with his back to goal. A floated cross into the penalty area, headed away by Hyam. Calmly brought down by Blackburn's Tyrese Dolan with the dark hair, and he'll charge up towards the halfway line on the counter. Touch was heavy, sliding in was Porteous, the Scot, to win it back. Firm but fair challenge from the man brought in from Hibernian in January.
Yeah, it was just a heavy touch by Dolan, and it just gives Porteous the chance to go and win the ball. As you say, it's a heavy challenge, but fair, and that's what we love to see. Gets the ball, gets a bit of the player as well, and at the end of the day, football is a contact sport. I think sometimes we forget that.
Courtney, that was one of those challenges, wasn't it? Those rip-roaring challenges that have some of the crowd out on their feet.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it sets the marker as well for the team when you see someone making a challenge like that. It's not just the attack, it's the defence as well that can sort of gee everyone up.
Here is Lewis Travis down the far side, the right for Blackburn Rovers. Early ball up to the edge of the penalty area. Hedges looking to get in behind. He pulls it back. It's hacked away by Hoot and out of play for a corner. Confusion in the Watford back line there. Goalkeeper and defender left it to each other. Hedges nipped in between them, kept the ball in right on the dead ball line. And Harry Leonard, had it reached him, would have had a simple tap in to make it 1-0. Otherwise, it's a Blackburn corner.
Yeah, I don't know what the conversation was there. The ball was left. I don't know whether... I think it was Hoot got a shout from the goalkeeper or thought he heard a shout. I don't know why he leaves it in that position in the 6-yard box, and it was very nearly a very costly mistake.
Well, Blackburn have a corner that Hedges is going to take. It'll be left-footed in-swinging delivery by the looks of things. Very few inside the penalty area for Blackburn, only 4 in blue and white. It's taken short to Dolan now, looking to turn on that right-hand side, but is forced under pressure from Asprilla to go back to the halfway line. Britton has the ball for Blackburn. He is 10 yards into the Watford half. Plays a neat 1-2 with Dom Hyam, and Britton, it might open up for him here. 30 yards out, tried to play the pass into the penalty area instead of shooting when maybe it was a better option. Watford scramble the ball clear. A little bit of frustration in the home ranks, but they didn't keep the ball, Watford, with Bayo, their top scorer so far this season, looking to dart forward. And in the end, it's Blackburn who have it back, with Britton finding Smodix level with the edge of the 18-yard box. Back into the centre of midfield, and Adam Wharton. Wharton's crossfield ball collected by Hedges, crossing position. Here is Travis on the underlap, deflected cross. That's gone behind for another Blackburn corner. 3 apiece in terms of the corner count. Neither goalkeeper's had a save to make just yet, 0-0.
Really surprised in that first phase as well that Callum Britton didn't strike the ball. He's a wonderful striker of the ball. It opened up for him, and as you say, I think the decision to try and play it in the box was the wrong one at that point.
Leonard, Hyam and Carter all forward here for Blackburn Rovers. Hedges again will take the corner, left-footed and short to the edge of the penalty area. Travis will strike it first time. It could come here in the box for Leonard. Scrambled away in front of Ryan Leonard by Bayo, and now Kayembe looking to launch a counter from just inside his own half. He was a little slow to play the pass, but it deflected down the right and into the path of Asprilla. 0-0, but an energetic start on Talksport 2 as Asprilla tries to curl that ball high up into the air, right to left, and now there are looming murky skies up ahead, and the pitch is covered in shade, and it's windy again. Ever-changing weather, it feels like, at Watford today. Even game. Watford have possession with Kayembe. Little flick down the middle from Bayo, but he can't find a teammate, and Dom Hyam will shepherd it back to the feet of the goalkeeper, Ainsley Pears.
I like that corner routine from Blackburn. You see it's well worked off the training ground, and when it meets Travis, you're just thinking put your foot through it, hit it well, and he just doesn't quite get the right contact on it.
Travis, the former Liverpool youth team player, dispossessed on the halfway line. Watford have it with Kayembe. It's a very fluid Watford's setup so far today. You've got players interchanging and interlinking all of the time, and occasionally it feels like a back three when they've got the ball and a back four when they don't. Aspria's dropped to the right back position now to skip away from Dolan. Good quick feet from the 19-year-old Colombian. And Wesley Hoot, the big defender with his hair tied back, has the ball on the halfway line, the number 4. Looks out to the left, and Martins. What do you make of these positional interchanges, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk?
Yeah, I like it, and I think as a forward player, that's something that you always want in terms of, that freedom to move, and knowing that if you move, for example, we've seen it where Bayo moves in and drops in, that someone's going to make that third man run. So it's all about spaces and the interchanging of someone being in that space regardless of position. That's what we're seeing from Watford, and Blackburn are struggling to pick up, really.
Watford 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. We had 15 minutes. We've gone quickly that on Talksport 2. Here's Ken Sema with the yellow boots on. Far side in the left wing position. He's taking on Rankin Costello, who's backing away from him. Sema to the dead ball line. Rankin Costello slides in. Watford win their 4th corner. And it really has been end to end so far. Seen very little of the game being played in midfield.
Yeah, we have, and I think as well, when we're talking about that interchanging of positions for Watford, I think that's then where Blackburn can exploit that. If they can, win the ball back and find feet early. You see Watford, they're flooding so many players forward, so there is the opportunity for the counter-attack for Blackburn.
Yasser Asprilla has gone across to take the corner, been linked with a move to the Premier League. Asprilla. Blackburn have brought everybody back, plenty of yellow and black shirts inside the penalty area for Watford. Asprilla lofts in the high out-swinging delivery over the head of Porteous at the far post. It'll have to be retrieved by Tom Deli-Bashiru, who used to play in the Manchester City youth setup. Back it goes to Ryan Andrews. Andrews cross-field, the right back on the diagonal. Asprilla collects the ball high up in the air, jumping high to receive possession. He's got away from Dolan. Now an opportunity for Martins, but he's blocked off. Rankin Costello will send it back to goalkeeper Pears, all in bright lime green, and he'll drive it high up towards the halfway line. A very clever back header from Sema. I say a back header. He was facing the touchline and he cushioned it backwards with the back of his head into the feet of Hoot. So Watford keep the ball and they can keep the momentum at 0-0 here.
Yeah, I think they're the ones that look more likely in this game so far. They're building, they're keeping more of the possession. I just think for both teams it's that little bit of quality, in front of goal. We've not seen someone with a good opportunity just yet.
Good covering by Dolan on the stretch to send it back to the goalkeeper Andrews. The weight of the pass towards Andrews was almost perfect, but Dolan just had a slight head start on his man to send it back to the goalkeeper. But it's a good spell of possession this for Watford, who ripped apart Queen's Park Rangers in the first half here, scored 4 without reply on the opening weekend. And since then, though, they haven't managed a goal in the Championship, and they were knocked out of the Carabao Cup at the first round stage by Stevenage. We have League Cup commentaries for you on Talksport 2 on Tuesday and Wednesday. Fulham against Tottenham at Craven Cottage on Tuesday night. Wednesday, Chelsea against AFC Wimbledon. On Friday on Talksport, Luton's first Premier League game at Kenilworth Road is against West Ham. And then on Saturday, Sunderland against Southampton in the Championship on Talksport 2 at 12:30, followed by Chelsea against Nottingham Forest. Talksport at 12:30, Sheffield United against Everton. Now there's a slide tackle here by Callum Britton that was poorly timed on Asprilla, who went flying, and the referee Gavin Ward is going to call over Britton, and I think it's just going to be a talking to, Courtney.
Yeah, it is. I think to give him his benefit, Britton, he knows he's late, and I think at the last moment he sort of pulls out. So the way that he takes Asprilla out is more with his knees and the momentum of his body, rather than studs up. Luckily for him, because obviously if the studs are showing, it's a completely different situation with the referee.
Well, they did have a left back sent off in the defeat to Hull City, of course, did Blackburn Rovers. And despite that sending off, they went 1-0 up in the game, but then conceded 2 late goals to suffer their first defeat in any competition this season so far. Crossfield pass from Hoot, left to right to the near side. Andrews right in front of us. Lovely first touch down the near side towards Deli-Bashiru. Sliding in though was Dom Hyam, stretching across the turf. He must have slid a good 3-4 yards there, Hyam, to sweep it out of play for a Watford throw. It's an excellent playing surface here at Vicarage Road. That was a lovely touch, cushioned down the right though by Andrews.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And again, Bayo on that shoulder there, but Hyam does so well to anticipate where the ball's going to be.
Here's Asprilla drifting into a central position now for Watford, midway inside the Blackburn half. Blackburn with everybody in blue and white back behind the ball at the moment. They can't get the ball, Blackburn. Asprilla, good weight on the pass towards the underlapping run of Andrews, but Dolan's there once more on the cover. Neat back heel by Adam Wharton to find him, and Dolan jinks away. There's some good footballers on both sides, and some excellent play being shown by both teams in possession, as Wharton holds off the challenge of Bayo to find Rankin Costello on the halfway line. Blackburn working up the field, and now it's Travis putting it back to the edge of the penalty area in Smodics. Smodics on the corner of the 18-yard box, out wide to Travis again. Hedges and Leonard and Dolan all in the penalty area. Blackburn, though, have to work it back to the centre circle, and here's Hyam just inside his own half. A little dink over the top via deflection to find Rankin Costello, who helps it up the middle. Leonard onto Smodics. Smodics in the area. Good save by the goalkeeper. Rebound falls towards Hedges. Was he caught on the stretch? Referee says no penalty. There were no real appeals from the Blackburn players on the field. That's the first save that either goalkeepers had to make. And now Watford are on the attack. Live on Talksport 2. 0-0 against Blackburn with 20 minutes played. Asprilla infield to Kone, and the pace of the game has slowed momentarily. Square ball from Kone to Kayembe. Blackburn have got, again, everybody back behind the ball, very efficient in their defensive positioning here, Blackburn, but it's Denny Bashir on the edge of the D, setting up Martins. Can he spin and turn and get the shot away? Not quite deft enough with his touches, and then a poor ball by Andrews, intercepted by Wharton. Rankin Costello should clear for Blackburn. He does, and now they're on the break. Once again, it's end-to-end. Dolan left of centre, up the middle towards Harry Leonard. He's on the edge of the box. Can he spin away from Hoots? Hoot gets the tackle in. 0-0. What a first half, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Wrong decision, though, from Dolan. I think it's Hedges on that right-hand side. He's free, and that's the ball that needs to be played. And what's happening is both the fullbacks for Watford, Semmer and Andrews, are getting so high, and in possession it's fantastic. Blackburn are struggling. They're almost playing the back six at times, but you do see then, if Blackburn break quickly with quality, they can exploit, because there's only Backman in goal and Porteous and Hoot that they're actually providing any defensive cover.
Sammy Smodics to the right-hand edge of the penalty area, denied at an angle by Dan Backman. It's a save you'd expect the Watford captain to make. And Smodics look to make it 3 goals in 4 to start the new campaign. Watford 0, Blackburn 0. The Watford supporters very quick to voice their frustrations and their displeasure at any sort of misplaced pass or miscue in terms of control. Semmer the guilty party that time, but Watford have won it back half the field after Smodics was careless. Denny Bashir wiggling through, comes to Martins, saved down low by Pears, hacked away by Hyam. I think the touch that took it into the path of Martins actually came from a Blackburn player tackling back. Denny Bashir, who should have played it earlier. Either way, both goalkeepers have now made a good save each.
Yeah, they haven't, but I think you've got to argue that, you know, both the forwards there have got to do better. Both shots have gone at the keeper. Yes, they've made the save and they've got to be there. They're in the right position, but both Smodics and Martins there, I think, have got to do better to try and find the corners.
Mateus Martins, who has 1 goal to his name this season, the 3rd against Queen's Park Rangers on the opening weekend of the campaign. We've had chances at both ends. It's been one of those matches that has felt and has been really completely even in the first half of the first half on Talksport 2. It's been really enjoyable to watch so far, and that the save from Pears was probably a more difficult save than that of Backman, because he had a plunge low to his left. But you're right, Courtney, it was a bit too close to the goalkeeper, I'm sure, for Ismail's liking. Here is Semmer, though, driving into the penalty area at pace. Great feet and strength from Semmer, down by the dead ball line to wriggle away from 2 in blue and white. Eventually he was stopped, and Blackburn have scooped it long over the halfway line. And Hedges is in a challenge with Hoots, and the referee's assistant is flagging. That'll be a free kick to Blackburn. Might it be a yellow card for Wesley Hoots? It is, and the pace of this game is so frenetic, it's absolutely breathless to watch.
Yeah, and Hedges showing his pace there, and this is what I'm saying, where Watford can get exploited again. You know, it's 2v2. Hedges does really well. He makes up some ground. He gets his body in between Hoot and the ball, and that's the only outcome then at that point is drawing the foul from the Watford defender.
Well, it could go either way. The opening goal, I have to tell you, none of the last 12 league meetings between these two have finished goalless. Now, I hope I haven't cursed it there, Court.
Fingers crossed.
The odds are, based on what we've seen so far, that we're not going to see a 0-0 draw for the first time in 25 league meetings between these two. A Blackburn free kick, about 5 yards in field, far side the right and middle of the Watford half. Smodics is standing over it. He'll leave it for Hedges to play it square. to Travis, and back to the centre circle it goes, and ranking Costello. Blackburn trying to build, but I'm not sure what the thinking was there. Bio's won it back over the halfway line. Aspria's onside in a foot race with Britain, and he's played it square towards Bio again, but there wasn't enough direction on the pass. He rather caught it tamely into the penalty area. Easy for Ainsley Pears, the Rovers goalkeeper, to come out and claim. Watford 0, Blackburn 0. Good noise at Vicarage Road, good competitive game. 24.5 minutes gone.
Yeah, he very much gets caught in two minds. The ball is poor. I think when he looks up, I think he can keep driving, really, take another couple of touches maybe, but you know, playing that ball in first time isn't the wrong decision if the execution is right. But I don't know what Blackburn were doing. The corner they did earlier on that was sort of off the training ground looked good, but there's been a couple of times now where they've played it short with no real purpose.
And it's the Sunday lunchtime football for you, live on Talksport 2. We've got Premier League action, of course, later, and Talksport and the Sunday session from 1:30 will keep you up to date. Best to download the Talksport app, then you can swipe between both stations at your leisure. Tomorrow morning, Talksport breakfast returns, 6 a.m. with Addy McCoist and Andy Townsend, who are on Mondays and Tuesdays. Alan Brazil in the hot seat Wednesday to Friday, and Vinnie Jones will be among the Talksport breakfast guests this week. He's on the show next Wednesday. Jermaine Genius is going to be on the show this week as well. And White and Jordan from 10 till 1. Make sure you download the Outspoken podcast online every day that White and Jordan are on the air. Here is Deli Bashiru for Watford. Socks rolled almost all the way down his shins. Over the halfway line he goes, unchallenged into the centre circle. Blackburn have allowed him to make up 30-40 yards. Aspria calling for help on the edge of the penalty area. Left-footed deflected shot straight down the throat of Pears. Is able to make a simple save. It was all a bit narrow for Watford there in attack, and Blackburn are coming forward on the counter now themselves. They look a very slick, free-flowing outfit, Blackburn. Lots of pace on the counter, but Watford look very dangerous as well. A lot of creative players in the final third for Watford. 0-0 it remains, and Watford disappointed their Courtney that latest attack came to nothing.
Yeah, I think the ball's got to be played earlier and as well in front of Aspria rather than, you know, just to the side of him so he can drive forward, and he's got to be quicker because we know when Blackburn get in their shape they're hard to break down. As saying at times it's a 6 at the back, so the ball needs to be played quicker by Watford.
No foul on Travis by Porteous coming across. Another robust challenge from the right-sided Watford centre-half. The Blackburn fans not happy. The referee says play on. Deli Bashiru has found a pocket of space in between the Blackburn midfield and back line. He races up to the edge of the area, shoots right-footed. It's blocked by Carter. Blackburn standing off Watford and standing off Deli Bashiru twice in the space of 2 minutes. Now that must be tactical, that must be deliberate.
I think it is, and as I say, because when they get back in the shape they've got so many numbers behind the ball, I don't think they're too fussed in terms of letting Watford have the space in front of them. They just don't want Watford to get behind them.
Goalless it remains. Hedges has hacked the ball into the Watford half and out of play for a throw at the bottom of the Graham Taylor stand, midway into Watford territory. Famous names and photos of famous faces all around the stadium here. They know how to pay tribute to heroes past and present. There's a lovely photo of Graham Taylor and Sir Elton John in the press conference room here at Watford, and fitting that one of Watford's legends, Graham Taylor, has the stand on the far side named after him. As the ball is floated high up the Watford left, this time by Hood. Martin's on the chase. He's kept it in the 20 roll, down by the dead ball line. Blackburn slow to react. Here is Kone in the penalty area. Shot miscued, blocked off. He was just inside the 18-yard box there. We had a sniff of goal. Closed down, and now it's come to Martins on the corner of the penalty area. Hits the bar with a stunning curler. Oh, it was so close to a wonderful goal from Mateus Martins, looking to light up Vicarage Road on this Sunday lunchtime. It was inches away from finding the postage stamp. Pears was beaten, still 0-0. Here's Sema on the Watford left. Low cross steered up into the air by Carter. That's over the top of the stand. It's a Watford corner. So unlucky, Mateus Martins.
Yeah, it was a wonderful strike, and again they sat off him. And maybe now that's going to give Blackburn food for thought, because if they keep doing that, invariably, wow, what a strike. We get the pleasure of watching it back on the replay, and you know, an inch lower, and as you say, that's hitting the postage stamp. It was a beautiful strike.
He's a very authoritative, decisive manager, Valérien Ismaël, the Watford head coach, and he's made 3 changes today, and Watford have looked good in the first 29 minutes, but they've not been able to find the back of the net. Twice Martins has gone close. The referee's going to have a word with Ainsley Pears here, the Blackburn goalkeeper. And Bio, and I think it's Travis who's his marker, are being spoken to by Gavin Ward as well. His corner is at the end away to our right. The Vicarage Road end, single-tiered, which is split between home and away supporters. The Blackburn fans, a big group of them on their feet behind the goal as the rain starts to teem down in Hertfordshire. Had all manner of weather today. Spreer will take the corner. He'll be right-footed and in swinging, drifted in towards the near post by Denny Bashiru, and a thumping header clear by Dolan for Blackburn, the first man. Up to the halfway line it goes, and the danger is gone. I think, though, Valerian Ismail, as he's retreated back to his seat in the dugout, the former West Brom, former Barnsley boss, he'll be happy with what he's seen so far, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, definitely, it's a step up in performance. He's got the response I expect that he wanted from the side, and now it's just about putting the final topping on that, isn't it, in terms of getting the goal and getting yourself in front.
Both teams sit mid-table, and now applause ringing all around Vicarage Road in the 30th minute of the game, and that in memory of the Blackburn Rovers PA announcer Matt Sidito, beg your pardon, who very sadly passed away at the age of 30 earlier this week. A lifelong fan, Matt Sidito, the PA announcer at Blackburn Rovers, and very sad news to hear of his passing this week, and lovely to see all four sides of Vicarage Road united in applause and in memory of Matt Sidito, and our thoughts are with his family and friends. And now Blackburn are on the counter. It's 3 against 2. Dolan bursting down the right. Early cross is deflected. That's come off Porteous and into the gloves of the goalkeeper. All in. Pink away to the left-hand side. Daniel Backman. And for Blackburn, the chance is gone. Watford 0, Blackburn 0 on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. 31 minutes played. John Dahl Thomason in a tracksuit, arms behind his back on the near side touchline. He's almost directly in line with where we're sitting in the commentary box. What will he have made of the game so far?
I think he'll be happy with the counter-attack. I do think, looking at how Blackburn have set up in terms of their wanting to soak up the pressure, let Watford have the ball in front of them and try and catch them on the counter. So, you know, in terms of the game plan, that seems to be working. I think they'd like to be a bit better at times in possession. Yes, I know they want to counter-attack, but if that's not on, they need to keep the ball, and sometimes they've given it away a bit too freely.
Watford have won a throw midway inside the Blackburn half, almost to illustrate that point. It's a dink forward up the middle by Sema. Infield, that's an excellent bit of strength from Bio initially to hold off Hyam, but in the end the centre half was able to do enough to win it back. Floated past crossfield right to left from Travis, and Dolan will do really well to keep this in play, and he can't, and he ends up almost careering into the electronic advertising hoarding on the near side. He just about managed to halt his momentum. Watford throw in the right back position. Andrews goes back to Porteous. I've really enjoyed the first 33 minutes so far, though, Courtney. It's early days in the season, of course, in the Championship, and changes at both clubs over the summer in terms of playing personnel. For Watford, yet another new head coach. Will Valerian Ismail get the time to really stamp his mark on the job? That's the perennial question when you're a Watford manager, and they're under pressure here. Ranky Costello, great cross. Smodics would have had a free header had he been a couple of inches taller. One of the smaller players on the field, Sammy Smodics, he couldn't quite stretch enough. Andrews, the Watford right back, heads it behind for a Blackburn corner. Could so easily have been 1-0, for example, had that been Harry Leonard on the edge of that.
Yeah, it really cut off. It's real poor defending, though. He's by himself, and as you say, he's stretching everything he can to try and get to it, but just can't quite get his head on it in the end.
Corner to Blackburn on the near side at the Rookery end of the ground, the traditional home end here at Vicarage Road. It's taken short, the corner to Hedges. Now Travis back to goal inside the penalty area, down by the dead ball line, faced up by Bio. And now Dolan wriggles away and tries to scramble the ball infield, and they've got it here. Blackburn with Hedges, who crosses all the way to the far post. There were two who went for it, and Leonard got a touch at the back stick, but not enough to turn it home. The assistant's put his flag up on the far side, so maybe it would have been offside against Leonard. Hedges went for it initially. Leonard back post, got a touch, and well, certainly Hedges was in an offside position, and Leonard Well, he slid in at the back post and couldn't turn it in, Courtney.
Yeah, Hedges was, a good few yards off, and I don't think he touches it, but he does go for it. So I suppose if Leonard puts that in at the back stick, there's the argument is Hedges affecting play there. But again, it's positive from Blackburn. Win the ball back in a good area, and it's a nice ball across the box.
That's the voice of Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, former Sheffield United women's striker who played for England at youth level and was our Lionesses correspondent at the recent Women's World Cup, and the WSL, part of our offering of coverage across the season on the Talksport network. And in terms of football commentaries, we will have 450 this year. But Watford gave the ball away in the centre circle, a terrible pass square from Kone. Leonard intercepted it inside the centre circle, and before he could try and lob Backman from the halfway line, across came Porteous to whip it off his toes.
Yeah, I think he was that surprised that the ball landed to him. I don't think he quite knew what he wanted to do with it at that point, and yeah, the moment then went.
10 minutes of the first half remaining. The wind billows the commentary box at the back of the stand. Floated forward high up the middle by Porteous for Watford, header away by Carter for Blackburn. It drops down to the feet of Yasser Asprilla, the Colombian midfielder. His pass is intercepted by Adam Wharton of Blackburn, who have it now on the halfway line with Leonard with the white and lime green boots on. Lovely sweeping ball to the right, and Hedges, who takes it in his stride, drives up towards the corner of the penalty area, trying to get beyond Sema. Sema stands firm to win it back, and Sema scoops the clearance high and long towards the halfway line beneath these cloudy skies, and Bio's wriggled away from the defender Carter. He's poked it square to Deli Bashiru, onto Asprilla on the near side, the right. Asprilla has slowed the game down here. Blackburn have got players back behind the ball, but Asprilla's wriggled away from 1 and 2. He's twisting, turning on the edge of the penalty area. Travis tackled from behind. Referee says no free kick, had a good view of it. Asprilla has gone down and has stayed down, clutching his leg. Watford initially play on, but I think they're going to put it out of play. Kone does that in the end. Boos for the referee.
Yeah, he looks in bother, he's batting the ground. I don't know how much of a, in terms of the contact, I don't really think it was too much of a foul. It might be just the way that he landed. Yeah, I mean, it probably is a foul looking at it, and we're getting the benefit of the replay there. But for me, Watford, in the final third especially, aren't moving it quick enough. They're getting good opportunities. Bio there, absolutely brilliant in terms of his strength and to keep hold of the ball, but they're giving Blackburn so much time to get back in defensive shape, when if they move the ball more quickly, they can exploit the space that's been left.
And as you say, Watford do look vulnerable to the pace of Blackburn on the counter-attacks. The game is set up really intriguingly. 0-0 it remains, as we've got this injury stoppage for the problem for Asprilla, who's being helped to his feet by one of two Watford physios. Both head coaches have called their players over to the near side touchline. We're right in line with them, but we're not close enough, of course, that we can hear what's being said. I always wonder what's being said. And Courtney, as a former pro yourself, what sort of advice do players get in these kind of drinks breaks?
Yeah, it's really quick. I think good managers with good communication get across that information as quickly as possible. They don't try to flood you with too much. I think, as I say, for Watford, I think it's in the final third, moving the ball a lot quicker to exploit the spaces. I think John Dahl Thomason will say for Blackburn, you're doing what I wanted, it's just in that final third you've got to look after the ball. The final ball has got to be better, and that quality. But I think in terms of the game plan, I would say for both sides, it seems that they're being executed quite well. It's just that finishing touch of putting the ball in the back of the net.
And it's easy for us, of course, to go back and say, look, if Ben Brett and Diaz or João Pedro are on the field today, we might have had a goal apiece at least for either team. But you can't help but be tempted to look back and think that. And that is the sort of dilemma, that is the sort of issue that both these head coaches, and you feel John Dahl Thomason in particular, are just going to have to deal with this season.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. This is the team that you've got, and this is what you've got to deal with. Obviously, yes, there is time, and they'll want to get more players in as possible, but at this moment in time, this is your squad. You've got to deal with it. And for Blackburn, I think they are finding ways around it. They're playing slightly differently than they did last season. They're sitting in a lot more, and they're playing on the counter more than I saw last season. Just because of obviously the cards and the players that John Dahl Thomason's been handed.
The goalkeeper Ainsley Pears has Sportingly given the ball back to Watford, who are still temporarily down to 10. Asprilla waits to come back on. 0-0 in the 39th minute of the game on Talksport 2. We've got a Summer Nation Series rugby for you after 3 commentaries yesterday. France take on Australia at 4:45, all ahead of the Rugby World Cup, and from 7 o'clock PGA Tour Golf from Atlanta, live for you on Talksport 2. Now Asprilla, who's looked a real threat, has come back onto the field. He's a player with so much potential. It's Porteous who has it for Watford, about 10 yards shy of the halfway line. Valérien Ismaël, you might be able to hear him belting out instructions from the near side touchline. The rain is gone and the sky's a bit brighter now. Kayembe for Watford on halfway, plays it back to Hoot. Hoot floats the ball up the middle towards Martins. Out comes the goalkeeper, heads it clear, pairs. The loose ball has dropped to Sema, and Sema didn't expect it to reach him. It went through the legs of Kone. Not sure if Kone deliberately left it for Sema. Anyway, Watford have it back again, just inside Blackburn territory. I think some of the Watford fans were thinking Pears is off his line, so can we get the ball over the head of the goalkeeper and into the net? But it would have been difficult, I think, from that sort of range.
Yeah, it's just one of them balls as well that doesn't sit down quite quick enough as you would like to try and get the shot off. But again, Martins on that left-hand side is certainly winning the battle against Rankin Costello.
That's a weighted pass from Hedges up the Blackburn left side, near side of the field. Dolan, the number 10, was racing after it, but Porteous again had a couple of yards head start, so was there to see it back to the goalkeeper, Daniel Bachmann. Both goalkeepers have had a save apiece to make, and Watford's Mateus Martins has crashed an effort against the bar as well, but it's been largely a very even encounter. 4.5 minutes of normal time remaining, plus stoppage time in this first half. Lots of Watford fans with replica shirts on. They are packed all around us in the Elton John stand. Here is Deli Bashiru, back to halfway, and Porteous with the white boots on. Blackburn again just sitting off and inviting the Watford pressure. Do Watford have the ingenuity and creativity to cut through them? That's the question. Hoot is just inside his own territory, now plays the ball into the Blackburn half, and Martins nutmegs Rankin Costello and floats past him with ease. Can he waltz beyond Travis too? Travis with a robust challenge, a fair challenge, says the referee, and then it's a slice clearance by the Blackburn goalkeeper Pears up towards his own right back position. Rankin Costello jumping over the top of Sema. Again, no free kick given by Gavin Ward, and possession's taken up by Hedges, who wriggles into the Watford half, then floats the ball cross-field, right to left towards Travis, hit it away by Andrews. The loose ball, the second ball, is retrieved by Asprilla, who gets beyond Wharton and takes him out of the game, but can't thread it down the inside right channel to the feet of Bayo. Then Andrews slides it on Britton right in front of the dugouts. It's a throw to Blackburn on halfway.
Yeah, and I like that in terms of that bit of play, but I was just watching Bayo. I think if that ball did get through to him, he would have been flagged offside. It's the right idea by Watford to play that ball a little bit quicker, but again, it's just the execution.
Been nearly for Watford so far. There's Rankin Costello, you can hear the ironic cheers. Balloons a mishit cross into the rookery end, away to our left-hand side. A little bit of movement in the stands now as we slowly tick towards half-time. At the pre-match tributes to the legendary former Watford goalkeeper Andy Rankin, and during the game to the Blackburn PA announcer Matt Sidito, who very sadly also passed away recently. Here is Porteous for Watford, just drifting into the Blackburn half, angles the ball to the right hand side, and Asprilla takes it down neatly in front of Dolan. Dolan tracking back diligently, but Asprilla is darted infield, away from three in blue and white. He's poked it into the path of Sema. Asprilla was caught late, the referee had played the initial advantage, free kick given, and Lewis Travis can't believe it, the Blackburn midfielder. He's thrown himself to the ground as if to imitate Asprilla, and Blackburn, I think, feel here that sort of making the point that you said earlier, is Porteous and Travis threatened to go head to head, and the referee's got to get a grip on this. But Courtney, you made the point earlier, contact sport. I think that's what Blackburn are saying in relation to Asprilla.
Yeah, it is. I must admit, I think that is soft. But I'm just laughing at Travis, really. He threw himself on the ground like my 3-year-old niece does when she's having a temper tantrum.
He's getting a firm talking to, is Lewis Travis, from the referee. Reportedly the subject of interest from Millwall in the summer. That, of course, didn't materialise. And there's a contrast, I think, between the playing style, the playing makeup of the Watford midfield and the Blackburn midfield in particular. These are two good footballing sides, though, and I think we've certainly seen that in the first 44 minutes.
Yeah, we've seen both sides of it, and I like the contrast of style because it's making for an exciting game. But as you say, both teams adept on the ball. It's just about who can find that extra bit of quality at the moment to find the back of the net.
It's a long way out, this free kick. It's got to be 35 yards from goal, dead centre. Martins and Kone over it, 0-0 the score. Martins will strike it right-footed, and it's not too far wide, maybe 3 or 4 feet beyond Ainsley Pears' left-hand post, and Martins, who hit the woodwork with a stunner early on in the half, and well, why not have a go from range from the free kick?
Yeah, in terms of the trajectory, it's not too bad actually. It looks like it was curling in. If he just gets a bit more on that, he's going to find that right-hand corner, but it was always a big ask from that sort of range.
Strident run up from the Udinese loanee, who had a loan spell here at Watford last season too. Here is Deli Bashiru nodding the ball down inside the centre circle, straight to Wharton, but that's another foul by Travis, catching Deli Bashiru late. I think that was a word from the referee as if to say, right, that's your last chance, so you're going to get booked next time. Again, Travis looked bemused by the decision. Wharton in the centre circle for Blackburn, almost a perfect ball up the middle towards Leonard, well intercepted by Porteous. He's made a number of those key interceptions in the first half. 3 added minutes on Talksport 2 in the Sunday lunchtime football. Watford 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. The ball is steered over the halfway line by Wharton, but intercepted by Andrews. Watford looking to launch a counter. Wharton gets back at Deli Bashiru, who's a bit slow on the uptake. Square pass to the left of centre and Kone. Away from 1, away from 2. Still going Kone, edge of the box. Travis gets a tackle in. It's been poked out wide to the Watford left, and Martins has got Semmer in support. Kone's there as well. Kone, the number 11, with a white bandage on his left wrist. Back it goes to Hoot. Hoot into the feet of Martins. Blackburn with everybody back behind the ball again. Watford not really moving it particularly quickly, but they've played a lovely interchange here, and it's an opportunity for a Asprilla. Deli Bashiru strikes it and is blocked by a sliding Hyam. That's as good as stopping a goal there from Dom Hyam, the Blackburn centre half. Now Asprilla racing down the left. His pullback is cleared away by Wharton, high into the stands. 0-0 it remains. Suddenly out of nothing there, Watford were nearly through.
Yeah, it was wonderful, quick 1 and 2 touch play. I don't know how they got through so many bodies, but they did. But Hyam again, last gasp, making sure he gets his body in the way. It's fantastic.
Martins sizing up a curler from 25 yards. Instead plays it square to Asprilla. Back to Porteous. And now Kayembe out to the left, and Martins, and Kone plays it square to the feet of Hoot. All of the play in the half to our right at the moment. Everybody bar Dan Backman is in the Blackburn half of the field as Watford look to build. 0-0 the score in first half stoppage time. Asprilla tries a 1-2 with Vakun Bayo, and then he shrugs aside Dolan. Finds the feet of Martins. Back to Asprilla. First touch a little heavy on the edge of the penalty area. Hammered away by Carter. Watford are playing some lovely stuff, but they can't quite find the back of the net.
No, they're trying, and they are moving the ball more quickly now, but it's just a struggle with the amount of Blackburn bodies in front of them, but they're getting closer and closer.
It was very neat one-touch passing. That moved just a few moments ago. Excellent block by Dom Hyam, and the ball is out of play for a Blackburn goal kick away to the right-hand side. That might well do it for the first half. Martins is displeased and makes his opinions clear. He feels it should have been a corner. Right by the assistant referee, who was in the perfect place to see it. A goal kick though to Blackburn Rovers, and Watford probably in the sort of position here, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, where they don't want the first half to end, but it is going to in a few seconds. No,
the momentum is certainly in their favour, but I think they can be very happy with their first half performance. They've done everything really but put the ball in the back of the net. There's been some wonderful 1 and 2 touch play. They've defended well at times. They've been exposed a couple of times, but I think there's a lot to be pleased about.
That's the half-time whistle. Watford the better side, but still no closer ultimately to a first league goal since the opening weekend of the season. In fact, the first 45 minutes of the season here against Queen's Park Rangers, but they could easily have scored 3 or 4 so far this lunchtime, and at the heart of it has been Mateus Martins. He's been playing to the left of a forward 3, but there's a very fluid setup that Watford are employing today, and it's great to watch at times. Martins initially denied by the Blackburn goalkeeper Ainsley Pears. He's curled an effort off the crossbar, and right at the end of the first half, Yasser Asprilla, the live wire Colombian, burst into the box after some lovely interplay on the edge of the penalty area, but Dom Hyam made an excellent sliding challenge. Blackburn look a threat on the counter. Their best chance fell for Sammy Smodics, looking for his third goal of the season, but he was denied by Dan Bachman. And at half-time, it is Watford 0, Blackburn Rovers 0 on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. And these are the thoughts of Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, I think both sides can be happy. I think, Watford probably look the more dangerous. They've had more possession than Blackburn, but I think Blackburn expected that and was probably the plan at times. They're almost playing in a back six, so they're looking to soak up that pressure and play on the counter-attack. And as you mentioned, it was a wonderful opportunity that Smodics had on that counter-attack movement, but just didn't, find the net really, instead of finding finds the goalkeeper. But I think both sides will be happy with their performance. It's just, do you change anything now to break the deadlock? And especially maybe Blackburn, there's only so much pressure you can soak up, so maybe are they going to be a little bit more expansive in this second half?
Blackburn a little frustrated towards the end of that first half with the referee, Courtney. Do they have right to complain? Are they being overly physical, as Gavin Ward seems to be suggesting?
Look, there was some fouls, don't get me wrong, but I do think sometimes it's been soft. I think the remit, hasn't it, in lately, is to try and let more things go in terms of that bar being a little bit higher. We've seen that in some of the games already, and as I said earlier, it's a contact sport, so I do get why they're getting slightly frustrated, but equally that's then you've got to manage the game, you've got to be clever. You can sort of sense as a player how the referee is going to play the game through the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, so they know now what the sort of limits of the referee are, so they need to start playing to that.
And just in terms of Watford in particular, a couple of bold decisions in terms of selection from Valérien Ismaël today. The one that the Watford fans were talking about before the game was leaving Imran Louza on the bench, and of course there may well be disciplinary reasons for that, at least based on what Valérien Ismaël had to say about Louza before the game started. But there's a great dynamism and youthful exuberance and quality about Watford in the midfield today.
Yeah, there is, and they're linking in so well with that 4-3, and at times interchanging positions quite a lot, so it's not set, it's very dynamic, and I think that's very hard when it's interchangeable like that for Blackburn to defend against, because they don't know who their player is in that sense. And I think Martins as well, I've been really impressed with. He's certainly got the better of Rankin Costello for most of the game, so I think that's definitely one to watch down the Watford left. But yeah, especially Asprilla as well, he's been fantastic today, hasn't he, both in and out of possession. I've really enjoyed watching him.
That's the former Liverpool striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside me, Joe Shannon, in the commentary position at Vicarage Road. We have second half commentary to come, and in just a few moments we'll look back on yesterday's championship action on your home of the EFL, Talksport 2. At the break, Watford 0, Blackburn Rovers 0. That's the Middlesbrough boss, Michael Carrick. A full review of all the weekend's EFL action on EFL All Access with Hugh Woozencroft here on Talksport 2 at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. The show also available as a podcast from all good podcast providers. We are about to get underway for the second half at Vicarage Road. Chances at both ends, but Watford 0, Blackburn 0 the half-time score. And Watford have made a half-time change. Imran Louza wasn't in the cold for long. The number 10 is onto the field for the second half in place of Ismaël Kone. And we are ready to get off and underway again. Watford ready to kick off in the yellow and black, playing from right to left towards the Brookery end of the stadium for the second half, and for Blackburn, blue and white, playing from left to right. Well, we did hear Courtney Sweetman-Kirk before the game started from the Watford boss Valérien Ismaël, suggested there might be a disciplinary issue with Imran Louza, which was why he was left out of the starting 11, but off the bench for the start of the second half.
Yeah, 45 minutes is a long enough punishment apparently, but I think in terms of this starting 11, I think they'll probably feel a bit hard done by, really, because I think they've had a good performance in the first half. So for that to change, for a substitution to be made at half time, I always think it's quite harsh. It feels harsh on a player, but he will bring quality, there's no doubt about that.
So Louza on the field, that's the only half-time change. Watford have Bachman in goal, Andrews, Porteous, Hoots and Sema in defence, Asprilla, Kayembe and Deli Bashiru in midfield, Louza and Martins in support of Bayo up front. Martins, who hit the bar in the first half, was denied by the Blackburn goalkeeper Ainsley Pears, and Watford also came close through Yasser Asprilla, whose effort was blocked by Dom Hyam. Blackburn no changes, Pears in goal, Rankin Costello, Carter, Hyam and Britton the back four, Travis and Adam Wharton in midfield, Hedges, Smodics and Dolan behind Harry Leonard up front. I'll give you the two benches again in just a moment. We're a minute into the second half. The floodlights are on at Vicarage Road. We had heavy rain through the half-time interval, but that rain has now stopped. Still the grey clouds continue to gather overhead. 0-0 the score. Lots of spectators resuming their seats early in the second half. We're right at the back of the Elton John stand. A steep drop to the touchline below, and just a slither to the right of the halfway line as Watford win a throw midway into Blackburn territory. Both teams looking for their second league victories of the season, both starting the day in mid-table, both with the chance to move closer to the playoff places, albeit very early in the season. Watford with loser the number 10, his socks rolled halfway down his shins, the Moroccan international, long sleeve shirt on, gets it back from Deli Bashiru, plays it back to Hoot, and now Porteous has possession. Watford playing from right to left towards the Rookery end, the traditional home end at this ground. Blackburn from left to right towards the Vicarage Road stand. Sema has the ball for Watford, squaring infield to Deli Bashiru. Blackburn with their counter-attacking style, and Blackburn backing off Watford here, allowing the home team to have possession. The question is, do they have the quality to break down the visitors today? Martins darts away from Joe Rankin Costello and then meanders back in field, rolls the pass up the middle to Asprilla. Lovely touch to lay it off to Deli Bashiru. Martins with a corner, just over the top. Wonderful Watford move, and for the third time in the game, Mateus Martins so close to opening the scoring. He loves a right-footed curling shot towards the far corner. Pears was rooted to the spot, and Watford so unfortunate not to be a goal up.
Yeah, and it's a very similar position again, isn't it, from the one in the first half where he hit the bar. We've got a great view of it. We were sat right behind it, and it looked like again it was going to nestle in that top right hand corner, but a few inches wide this time.
A fantastic effort from the Udinese loanee Mateus Martins, and Watford remain without a goal since the first half of the first game of the season. That 4-0 victory over QPR. The benches: Watford, Hamer the goalkeeper, Ngakia, Ince, Livermore, Rajovic the new signing, Pollock, Chakvetadze and Morris. So lots of options on the bench for Valérien Ismaël should he need them. Asprilla's won the ball back deep inside the Blackburn half. I'll give you the Blackburn subs in a moment, but Watford are looking promising on the attack. Andrews square to the edge of the box, and Martins, who's dispossessed, didn't look behind him. Travis got the touch. It's come out to Kayembe, laid back by Bayo to Sema. Sema corner of the 18-yard box on the near side of the field, finds Kayembe, who spins, turns and shoots. That's blocked by Carter. It's come back to Sema again. High delivery, the flick by Bayo. That'll be gathered by Ainsley Pears. Are they playing a dangerous game here, Blackburn, by sitting off as they are, Courtney?
Yeah, I think they are. You can only do that for so long. There's sort of the mental concentration that takes to be able to do that, and in terms of then obviously the physical aspect of it as well, and it's if you can get forward and get shots off freely, then yes, it works. But I think the more that we've gone through this game, the less Blackburn have been an attacking threat, and it only feels like a matter of time until Watford break the deadlock.
Watford 0, Blackburn 0. It remains on Talksport 2. We are 4 minutes into the second period here in the lunchtime game at Vicarage Road. Premier League football will go around the grounds with the Sunday session on Talksport at 1:30. There's Blackburn subs: Ballstedt the goalkeeper, Tronstadt, Gallagher, Gamble, Scott Wharton, Markande, Moran, Garrett and Bloxham. And there are Blackburn and Watford subs warming up to the left of the halfway line on the near side touchline. I can see the Watford boss Valérien Ismaël all in black, his hands on his hips, the former West Brom boss. Also managed Barnsley in the Championship, as Callum Britton has to come across from left back into a central position to win it back for Blackburn. John Dahl-Thomason, the Blackburn head coach, arms folded on the near side touchline in his sky blue tracksuit top. Watford have it with Hoot, left of the centre circle, square ball to Porteous. Watford trying to move the ball quickly. The pace and the tempo of the first half made the game a really enjoyable watch, and that's a great sweeping pass by Kayembe, deepest line midfield player, to find Martins in the left wing position, goes up the inside left channel, floats in a deep cross that's plucked out of the air by a stretching Pears. Just watch that neatly into his gloves, the Blackburn number 1.
Yeah, I think he's trying to stick that up for a spear at the back post. I think obviously on his weaker left foot, doesn't quite get the purchase on it he wants, but again I think Blackburn are playing such a dangerous game. It's all out attack really from Watford without any reply from Blackburn so far, and that's a poor ball as well.
Straight out of play from Luis Chaves. Blackburn sitting very deep, and Watford starting to build some momentum but goalless it remains on Talksport 2. We've got Summer Nation Series Rugby coming up for you at 4:45, build up from 4:30 for France against Australia, all ahead of the Rugby World Cup, and PGA Tour Golf from Atlanta on Talksport 2 later this evening. Tuesday and Wednesday we've got commentaries in the Carabao Cup, Fulham against Tottenham and Chelsea against Wimbledon. Britton has the ball for Blackburn, edge of his own box, controls it well under pressure from Asprilla. Smodics with the bleach blonde hair has been fouled by Kayembe. He's going to get a stern talking to from referee Gavin Ward, who's let a lot go. Just the one yellow card in the game so far, and that was for Wesley Hoot. Bright looking up towards the Graham Taylor stand on the far side with the neat row of floodlights on. Blackburn have possession from their free kick. They go across to the right back position, and Rankin Costello given away by Rankin Costello. They can't keep the ball, the team in blue and white. Watford on the counter, poor layoff square by Bayo. It was behind Asprilla who'd made a forward run, and Watford just can't find the finishing touch in the final third. And in fairness to Blackburn, the longer it stays 0-0, maybe the more they'll fancy their chances.
Yeah, maybe, and I think, you know, this is early on in this second half now, but maybe if it stays like this for another 15 minutes, they'll then think, right, well, we've given ourselves a chance here, maybe we can now start to be a bit more expansive. But at the moment, I just don't think Blackburn have got the quality enough from what we've seen towards the end of the first half and the second half to break this deadlock against Watford.
Remember, we've not had a goalless draw in league meetings between these two for 24 matches coming into today. 0-0 it remains, 7.5 minutes into the second half. Here is Lewis Travis down the Blackburn right, attacking the Vicarage Road end. That's a great ball to the far post. Smodics coming in. He couldn't quite reach it. He kicked the advertising hoarding in frustration. Lovely deep cross by Travis, maybe slightly overhit. And Smodics with that darting run, well, he was never likely to reach it in the end.
No, I think it was too far close to the byline, wasn't it? I think if you're going to whip a ball in like that, it's got to be a bit further away, almost across the 6-yard box rather than too deep, and it gives Smodics then a better opportunity to get on the ball at that point.
Over 1,000 Blackburn supporters behind the goal to the right. Almost all of them, it looks like, in their replica shirts. Big group of them huddled together at the back of the stand. A stand that's split between home and away supporters. Scooped forward down the middle by Hedges for Blackburn, but that's an easy back header from Porteous to his goalkeeper. And Porteous is very much a no-nonsense centre-half alongside Wesley Hoot. Two tall and strong central defenders that Watford have got here. And actually, aside from Hoot and Porteous, everybody else is flooding forward almost at will at times.
Yeah, they are. They're the ones that stay back and give the defensive balance, and everyone else for Watford are flooding forward, and that's why at times they got done on the counter-attack in the first half, but they seem to be finding a better balance with it on the counter-attack for Blackburn.
Asprilla, great ball infield to Loser, heavy touch back to goal inside the penalty area, taken up by Wharton for Blackburn, and now here is Leonard shy of halfway, didn't seem to know where to go. Slide tackle, Porteous wins it back. Watford 0, Blackburn 0. Asprilla inside right channel, crossfield to the left, and Martins in a central position, attacking the edge of the penalty area, right-footed drive, takes a deflection off a sliding Travis. Martins finding his range again from distance. Watford have their 6th corner, 0-0. Watford surely not too far off the breakthrough, although as I say that, they are going to make another couple of substitutions, and it's going to be Tom Deli-Bashiru, the first to go off. The Georgi Chakvatadze is coming on, the man on loan from Ghent. And it's a debut for Watford for their new number 9, the Dane Mileta Rajovic, bought in this week from Kalmar in Sweden, and on he comes to make his debut in English football. And it's Bayo, the central striker, the top scorer, who goes off.
Yeah, and I think he's been unlucky. He's done well today, but probably just not got the service from the players around him that he would have liked.
Rajovic jogs onto the field, over 6 foot tall, the number 9. Watford have got a corner straight away. Can either of the two subs, plus Loser, who came on at half-time, make their mark? The rookery end is on its feet behind the goal to the left-hand side. Corner is going to be whipped in swinging left-footed in just a moment or two. The referee not happy with something inside the penalty area. Delivery into the near post, headed away by Callum Britton for Blackburn Rovers. The cushion header back out wide to the corner taker Loser from Asprilla. As the sun comes back out in Hertfordshire. Crossfield by Andrews, deep into the penalty area, miles overhit. Mileta Rajovic would have to have been 20 foot tall to have reached that.
Yeah, it was poor, wasn't it? But I do think for a second, half a second, Ainley Pears was a little bit worried about that. I don't know whether he thought it was going to just find itself into that top left-hand corner. More by luck than judgment it would have been.
A few changes for Blackburn as well, and a debut for the young man Andrew Moran, who has signed on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion. And Dolan is the first player whose number is up, and Harry Leonard coming off as well. And Sam Gallagher will come on to make another substitute appearance in the Championship. Not made a league start so far this season, Blackburn's number 9, though he has scored on one occasion. So Dolan and Leonard coming off, Moran and Gallagher onto the field. And Gallagher with that physical presence through the middle, long hair, number 9. And how will the changes that we've just seen maybe affect the style of play of both sides, Courtney?
Well, I think Gallagher, as you see here, he'll provide a better link, just brings that down on his chest and trying to bring players into play. So I think it'll be easier to try and find him on the counter-attack. He will drop in and be the link player, and then you can get runners that go in behind him, and hopefully, as I say, he will be able to secure the ball a bit better, because at times when Blackburn have been on the counter-attack, it's just that holding that ball up and bringing people into play has been lacking.
Watford 0, Blackburn 0 in the Championship. Blackburn, who haven't been in the top flight since relegation in 2012. They, of course, went down to League One at one stage, but were promoted back to the Championship in one season. And Watford in the Premier League as recently as 2022, but never really looked likely at regaining their top flight status last season, despite 3 different managers. Here is Andrews for Watford on halfway. They're forward into Blackburn territory, smuggled away downfield by Carter for Blackburn, and now Hedges is darting up the middle. Gallagher to his right, to the left of the substitute. Moran with the first time effort, struck it low but struck it tamely, and struck it straight to the goalkeeper Backman. 0-0 and a chance gone for Blackburn.
Yeah, and that's the play they're looking for, Blackburn. It goes into Gallagher. It's a wonderful touch to find Hedges, and then Moran, I think he's got more time than he thinks, and it doesn't help he's only just come on his first touch of the ball. I think if he takes a touch and then gets a better strike on that to try and trouble Backman, but it's just too tame.
The former Sheffield United women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk alongside myself, Joe Shannon, here live on Talksport 2 this lunchtime. More live football from the EFL next Saturday. Kayembe through the middle for Watford towards Chakvetadze, only half cleared by Blackburn, then it's scooped up into the air and downfield towards the near side channel by Hedges. It looked like a foul by Rankin Costello on Martins. I think the referee might have played the advantage. Watford are dominating possession. What is the Blackburn intent in the game here? Is it sitting back to counter? Lovely ball through the middle for Watford for Rajovic. He's been pulled away from goal. Angle is tight, tries a cross, blocked off by Hyam. Corner to Watford.
I think he's got to hit that first time. The way it comes down the side of him, he can hit it first time. I think it's always difficult for goalkeepers. They don't know where the ball's going to go, and even if it goes across the box and a player taps it in, I think that's a missed opportunity by Watford.
Rajovic inside the penalty area as the corner's delivered into the near post by Loser. Appeals for handball, referee says no. Asprilla edge of the box, Martins back to goal, lays it back to Asprilla. Sea of Blackburn shirts in front of him. It's gone to the left and Chakvetadze. Now that looked like handball as the cross from Chakvetadze was blocked by a sliding Dom Hyam. The referee says no penalty kick, and the assistant doesn't flag either.
I've got to agree with you, Joe. It looked like a handball to me. When he slides, yes, it's difficult to keep your arms in when you're sliding on the floor, but he's in the penalty box. It hits his hand quite clearly from what I could see. I think Watford are unlucky not to get a penalty there.
Of course, no VAR in the EFL, so while we can see it on the huge monitors in our commentary position, it won't be looked at again. No penalty. Watford 0, Blackburn 0, an hour gone. It's all Watford in their yellow and black, playing from right to left. All of the play really is at the Rookery end of the stadium. Can Watford find the goal that they so crave and that they feel they deserve? Andrews' poor weighted pass infield from the right, couldn't find the diminutive Chakvetadze, and now Blackburn really only a threat on the counter, and that's a terrible pass out of play. Wharton put his hands to his head there because he gave Moran a hospital pass, and Moran was never going to reach it.
Yeah, it's poor, and I suppose the difference with Gallagher now is he's not got the pace. So Leonard, you could put it in front of him, and you know he'd cause a bit of trouble to Porteous and Hoot with his pace, whereas Gallagher's not got that. So they need to make sure that they get people around him.
Watford still can't score in the Championship, not since the opening weekend of the season. 2 games have been and gone. A draw here against Plymouth, a defeat away at Stoke last time out. 0-0 against Blackburn. Kayembe wide to the near side, and Chakvetadze with his socks again rolled halfway down his shins. White boots on Chakvetadze, plays it square and in field. Blackburn, everybody back behind the ball. Watford have it midway inside opposition territory. They have looked capable of cutting through this Blackburn team today. Can they do it again? Porteous miles out, right of centre, blasts it high into the rookery end. You could see where that was going, Courtney. Centre half lining one up. He lost patience, and that's ended up halfway up the stand.
Yeah, as soon as he did it, he knew he'd had a nightmare. Head straight down. The manager was absolutely fuming, hands up in the air, and yeah, I think he turned away not to get a bit of an earful from the manager there.
Saturday lunchtime in the EFL. Sunderland against Southampton will bring you live commentary on Talksport 2, followed by Chelsea against Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. And at 12:30 on Talksport, Sheffield United against Everton, when game day returns next weekend. Next Friday night, Luton against West Ham, Luton's first home game in the Premier League. 450 football commentaries across national radio on the Talksport network this season. That's more live football than anyone else. And each weekday morning you can react to the action on the Talksport Breakfast Show. 6 a.m. Monday to Friday. On Mondays and Tuesdays, Alan McCoist and Andy Townsend in the chair. Jeff Steddings joining the team in December. Wednesday to Friday, you'll have Alan Brazil with you, with all of his tales from the past, and Vinnie Jones among the guests with Alan on Talksport Breakfast on Wednesday this week. Here is Porteous for Watford, halfway line. Great way to pass down the right towards the run of Andrews. He was caught late there by Hyam coming across on the corner of the penalty area. That's a yellow card without any question at all, and Watford have a free kick in a dangerous position at 0-0.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful ball. The weight on it's perfect, but you could see it coming a mile off Andrews. As soon as he got the touch on that ball, he was going to get brought down, and it's unfortunate really for Watford. They'd rather him obviously be on the ball and have a good opportunity in the box, but still they've got a free kick in a decent area now.
Physios have been called on. 2 of them run onto the pitch to go across and treat Andrews here. Watford fans behind the goal to the left, I think, are chanting the name of Imran Louza, who's going to place this down by the corner of the penalty area. The Watford number 10 will have a long time to think about it. How concerning would it be for Watford here, Courtney, if they weren't able to make the breakthrough? 3 games potentially without scoring. Look, a long way to go. We've got the best part of half an hour, but Valérien Ismaël, his team deserve the lead, you feel, on the balance of play, but it's all about taking those chances.
Yeah, they've certainly been the better team, had the majority of possession, but you know, that doesn't always win games in football. And I think obviously Rajovic coming in as well, it's his, you know, he will take a bit of time to get used to the Championship, and maybe going forward he will be the source of goals. And yeah, it is early on, but equally you want to be creating chances, you want to be putting him in the back of the net, and the longer that sort of goes on and that doesn't happen, the team can lose confidence.
Andrews is back on his feet, and Watford will be temporarily down to 10, but have a free kick here, 4 or 5 yards from the corner of the 18-yard box. Loser is sizing it up, plenty forward in the yellow and black shirts, away to our left. Again, the Watford fans behind the goal, many thousands in that big single-tiered stand, are on their feet. There's a 2-3-man wall for Blackburn Rovers. They've got everybody back inside the penalty area. Blackburn, after a promising start in the game, have been on the back foot really ever since. We're now 20 minutes into the second half. The Blackburn subs haven't changed the momentum of the game at all. Loser stands over it, aiming to curl this one left-footed. He's the only man over the ball here, Imran Louza, and he'll play it square, get it back from Chakvetadze and shoots, but Louza hammers it over the top.
See the idea, they're wanting to change the position of the ball, because for their Louza it's quite wide to be able to get a shot on target, and as I say, I think it is the right idea, but again, just that last bit of execution. Need someone to be clinical in these areas now, Watford.
It's interesting watching a dynamic and possession-based Watford side under Valérien Ismaël, because of course he was much criticised at West Brom 4. The boos, by the way, because Andrews hasn't been allowed back onto the pitch, and now he has, so Watford back to their full complement of 11 players. But he was criticised at West Brom for his style of play, and we saw a similar directness of football at Barnsley too, but the approach is very different here at Watford, isn't it, Courtney?
Yeah, it is, and I suppose he will argue that's the players, that he was dealt with, and that's how he felt best to get wins. It's, as I say, it's definitely a lot more dynamic here in possession plays than playing the ball, but yes, it looks great, but what these Watford fans want are goals at the minute. They want goals and they want 3 points, and yeah, if they don't get that, the possession-based pretty football won't matter to them too much.
Blackburn's last league win at Watford in February of 2001, and they're 0-0 here, but Watford are on the attack through the middle. It's Rajovic puts it wide, having been threaded through by Loser. Right-hand edge of the penalty area, the new number 9 under a bit of pressure from a sliding Hyam. Should he have done a bit better there?
I think he's got to square it to Shakvatadze, who's just to his left. He was absolutely livid with his teammate, his hands outstretched, and rightly so, because it's just an easy 5-yard pass. And Shakvatadze is one-on-one with the goalkeeper, probably about 12 yards out.
Rajovic looking to make an instant impact. Brought in from Kalmar Football Club in Sweden, reportedly for around £1 million. His debut in English football today. 6'3", the big striker. Here is Rankin Costello for Blackburn into the final quarter of the game, and 0-0 it remains. And Blackburn maybe with an opportunity on the counter. It was a driven ball by Rankin Costello that just evaded the reach of Hedges before flying out of play. Now Watford up the other end themselves. Chakvatadze to the left and Martins taking on the defender here. Martins led with the edge of the penalty area, back to Chakvatadze in a central position. It's taken up by Asprilla, one back by Smodics, who was caught late. Referee plays the advantage for Blackburn Rovers. Moran, having dribbled infield, saw he had no support to his right, so had to go back to Hyam. John Dahl Thomason now on the edge of his technical area again with his arms folded. The man who played a season in the Premier League at Newcastle United. He was a fine player, the Dutchman, a former Champions League winner as well. But Blackburn have certainly not hit the heights since a promising start to this match, and they can't keep possession. They're no close to putting an attack together as Loser fouls Wharton, having lost the ball initially. Free kick to Blackburn 10 yards into the Watford half. That'll be a yellow card for Loser, but Blackburn just don't look like putting a move together at the moment.
No, and it's so frustrating as a forward player when you're playing in this type of way, because you rely on your teammates around you to find you with quality, because you're playing so deep. Sort of the quality on the ball has to be so much better from Blackburn. Otherwise, these forward players, it was Hedges there, the ball goes out, the ball just there to Gallagher wasn't good enough, and it's a frustrating afternoon if this goes on for Blackburn.
Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, who plays as a striker, formerly of Sheffield United and Liverpool, and former England youth international. Blackburn free kick dead centre. Quite a few forward, but Rankin Costello arms outstretched as if to say, I'm looking for options. He's just played it a couple of yards square. Will be threaded forward by Britton. Little dummy by Smodics. Travis tries to reach it in the box. Sema knocks it behind. Corner for Blackburn. Really carelessly conceded by Watford, almost out of nothing. Blackburn looked like they didn't know what to do from the free kick, but they have won a corner in front of the away fans.
Yeah, it was strange. Britton, he's got his hands outstretched. He'd say, what am I meant to do with that? And you're right, Joe, they don't actually look like they know what they're doing from set pieces or have any plan.
Hedges will take it. Gallagher's among those forward, left-footed in swinger. Easy header away by Hoots. Well, the 3 Blackburn players forward were at the far post, and the delivery from Hedges was up to the middle of the 6-yard area, and it was a free header for the Watford centre-half Hoot to get it away. 20 to go. Watford 0, Blackburn 0. And Blackburn heading for a point on the road, but not necessarily a point that you feel they necessarily deserve. Maybe they can make it all 3, as that long ball is cleared only as far as Smodics on the edge of the area. Now Moran, infield to Travis. Travis, corner of the penalty area, blocked off by Porteous, and Watford quickly back on the ball once more. Great ball infield by Asprilla to find Chakvatadze. Suddenly it's 4 against 4. Watford driving up the middle with the Georgian. Chakvatadze to the edge of the D, strikes it, it's blocked. A little impatient there maybe. Martins with his back to goal, spins and turns infield to the central position, then has to knock it backwards to Andrews. You've got to feel that in the last 19.5 minutes plus stoppage time, there's going to be a clear-cut chance on goal, surely. Loser left of centre, whips it across, headed away, comes out to Chakvatadze, got there first, brought down, Rajovic spins and turns, nothing behind the left-footed shot, straight at the goalkeeper. Watford fans appeal to the referee, but maybe tellingly, Courtney, there wasn't much appeals from the players.
Yeah, I think that's the telling one, isn't it? When the players aren't remonstrating with the referee, probably means that it was the right decision.
Great sliding tackle by Porteous, and now the loose ball's fallen for Asprilla. Middle of the Blackburn half, now it's Asprilla, arms outstretched, asking for options. Blackburn with everybody behind the ball, and Watford have slowed the play down. And loses pass all too easily telegraphed and intercepted by Travis. Travis over the halfway line to Gallagher. Gallagher's got Travis making a great run through the middle if he can find him. Travis darts through the middle here. Sliding tackle, Porteous comes out to Hedges. Hedges is through. Angle tight. Hedges scores! Blackburn on the counter. Ryan Hedges has lashed it into the net. Watford have been caught out, and Blackburn, with their first attack of the second half, have struck with 19 minutes to go. It was a slightly messy goal, but Hedges juggled the ball into the 6-yard box and with really an impossible angle buried it beyond backman. Watford 0, Blackburn 1, almost out of nothing.
Yeah, the first bit was messy, Joe, but I tell you, there was nothing messy about Hedges here. It's fantastic. When the ball drops to him, initially it's a little dink over the defender. He then, I think, does 2 or 3 kick-ups on his way into the box, and you're right, the angle is so acute. He's sort of right at the near post, but somehow manages to get a fantastic strike on it, get it across the goalkeeper. By the way, in the build-up as well, Gallagher does ever so well. And I'm just looking at this, it's a wonderful strike. You may be looking at the keeper thinking, can he do slightly better? He's getting done at his near post, but you've got to give Hedges his dues. He's done really, really well. The little dink over, I think it's Hoot initially, and then the little touch and the kick up, and yeah, it's a wonderful strike at the near post.
Watford have responded by bringing on Tom Ince for Yasser Asprilla. Watford 0, Blackburn 1 on Talksport 2. Just as it looked like Blackburn were not going to be able to create, they've taken the lead, and the smash and grab victory could be on. Watford have responded, as I say, by bringing on Ince for Asprilla, but this will really deflate Watford now. Can they respond? As Andrews crosses low for them from the corner flag, it's cleared away upfield by Dom Hyam for Blackburn, and now Smodek's just shy of halfway, beaten to the 50-50 by Tom Ince. Loser in the middle of the Blackburn half, a square ball to Sema, out to the left, and Martins inside left channel, right-footed curler once more. This time it's bending well wide of goal, and Watford made to pay for missed chances earlier in the game. 1-0 down. Yeah, you're 100% right, Joe, and that's the problem. Yes, they've been the better team, they've had the better chances, but they've not taken them, and you get into that 72 mark that Blackburn got to, and they're probably thinking, right, we're still in the game, we can probably go for it now. I do think the introduction of Sam Gallagher has definitely made a difference. It's offered more of a focal point, he's got that quality on the ball, as we saw in that build-up there, and yeah, Hedges has then taken the chance. And as you say, it was a strange goal for Watford to concede, but for Hedges, almost juggling the ball into the 6-yard box and then smacking it beyond backman, almost from on the goal line. We've seen it again on our monitor. Was there much the goalkeeper could have done? It's difficult because, yes, he gets beat at his near post and everyone sort of says, look, keepers can't get beat there, but I think he's so close, Hedges, he hits it and strikes it so well that it was always going to be difficult for backman there to be able to save it. So this fixture continues its run in the league without a goalless draw. I knew it would be the case, Courtney. Knew I hadn't cursed it. Header away by Hoot for Watford. The ball drops in the middle of the Watford half. Adam Wharton's there for Blackburn. Stabbed upfield by Sema for Watford. Nowhere near Rajovic though. And Dom Hyam got there first and looks to sweep it down the near side right channel. Franklin Costello beaten to it by Chakvatadze. A little scrappy that passage of play. Watford have it back though as they seek an equaliser. 1-0 down with 15 minutes to go on Talksport 2. And maybe John Dahl Thomason will certainly be vindicated by his approach if it stays 1-0 to Blackburn. They have been clinical with the chance that they've had. Yeah, they've been good, and I think you look at Watford, they've changed personnel but not really changed the way they're playing, and Rajovic is not like Bio in terms of his movement, so Watford have maybe got to play a bit differently, get the good crosses and balls into the big front man. Ken Sema wants a free kick. Doesn't get it from the referee. Left-hand edge of the 18-yard box, sandwiched in between two blue and white shirts, and one of them, Rankin Costello, has gone to ground. And here come the two physios for Blackburn. Of course, the Watford fans behind the rookery end goal are frustrated, but all of this will be added on and will be reflected in the stoppage time that we see. Cramp for Rankin Costello. He's being helped out by Lewis Travis. Sam Gallagher just getting some instructions from John Dahl Thomason. What's the message from the Blackburn boss now?
Well, I think it's got to be the quality on the ball. I think Rankin Costello as well has got a yellow card there. I'm not surprised he's got cramp, because to be honest, he's been ran ragged by both Martins and Sema today. He's not had his best game. But look, I think for John Dahl Thomason now, it's no silly mistakes. You know, in terms of that shape and dropping in and putting your bodies on the line and being defensive, they'll think that now for this last 15 minutes or so they can see it out, and if they can get another goal on the break, then fantastic.
He's been yellow carded, Rankin Costello, for taking too long to leave the field. He has now left the field, and the older of the Wharton brothers, Scott, 6 years older than Adam, is on. And Blackburn here, I think, have shifted Hayden Carter to the right. Maybe it's going to be a back three. And we'll see. Carter's certainly gone to the right for now. Ball is cleared long by Ainsley Pears, the Blackburn goalkeeper. 1-0 to the Lancashire side here on Talksport 2, and Blackburn have won it back on the halfway line with Smodics, who tried to whip a reverse ball to the right-hand channel and Gallagher, but it's overhit. It's clattered into the advertising hoarding, and Watford have a throw. What have Watford got in response? A lot of neat attacking play throughout the game, but they certainly haven't forced Ainsley Pears into as many saves as they would like. They haven't had enough efforts on target, you'd have to say.
No, certainly not for the possession that they've had, and I say that the good play in the midfield and final third. There's not been enough shots on target, and it's not created enough opportunities, I think, that the possession should do.
Into the number 7 left-footed reverse ball, and it's gathered by Pears, too close to the goalkeeper. Watford goalkeeper and captain Dan Backman at the other end was hopping up and down in frustration there. Easy take for his opposite number, Pears, and Blackburn could prove a really difficult obstacle for Watford to overcome now, with Rovers into a 1-0 lead. KMB with the blue boots on just steps into the Blackburn half, and forward now to Martins, infield to Chakpatadze, square ball to find Ince, quick, fleet-footed, and he's played a lovely reverse pass to Andrews, who pulls it back. Rajovic there from a tight angle, took it away from his teammates. He had to shoot first time there, or let it go, and he did neither. Held on to the ball and found that he was at an impossible angle and was quickly converged upon. Watford coming forward with Ince again. He's looked to knock it down the middle. It's blocked off, and then a foul on Adam Wharton and a free kick to Blackburn.
That's almost a perfect example of why Watford aren't in front today. I think the times that they have got themselves into good opportunities, they've not made the right decisions there. I think you're exactly right in terms of Rajovic. He's got to hit that first time. He's not got time to take a touch, and if he's not hitting it first time, he's got to leave it for a teammate behind him to step onto.
Watford make another change. Ryan Andrews leaving the field. Jeremy Ngakia, formerly of West Ham United, is on. Had a couple of fitness issues. Jeremy Ngakia, Watford's number 2. Watford 0, Blackburn 1. I'm sure Valerian Ismail will take some positives from the Watford display, but it's going to be 3 league matches without a goal as it stands, ahead of a trip to Coventry next Saturday. Blackburn will play Harrogate in the second round of the Carabao Cup on Wednesday night. On Wednesday night, Talksport 2 will bring you commentary of Chelsea against Wimbledon. Tuesday, Fulham against Tottenham again from the Carabao Cup again on Talksport 2. Gallagher's held it up well for Blackburn on halfway, but he can't find Travis. Back pass from Sema to his goalkeeper. Sema gets it back in the left back position. Watford need to go all out attack here into the last 10 minutes, but it's given away by KMB. Blackburn look much stronger and much more confident now. Smodics threads it to the left, and Moran back to Smodics. Good touch away from Ngakia. The ripple of applause you can hear is for Andrews, who's making a long troop all the way around the edge of the pitch, having come off. And Rajovic has held it up well, dropping into his own half, the debutant number 9, who's had a couple of half chances, Rajovic, but has obviously only just got to know his teammates in the last couple of days or so, so maybe a little behind the play, that's understandable. Ince marauding infield from the right-hand side, gets the dead ball line, floats in the cross to the far post, and Loser brings it down, back to Martins! Tipped onto the post by the goalkeeper. Ince on the follow-up, headed away by Scott Wharton. That's an excellent save by Ainsley Pears to turn it onto the post.
Yeah, it's a really good save. Martins must be wondering how he hasn't scored today, but coming through bodies as well. Ainsley Pears gets down so well and good hand to it, knocks it onto the post, and Blackburn are starting to get the backs against the wall now. Watford are really pushing it in his last 10 minutes.
Twice now Martins has hit the woodwork, 4 times he's gone close, twice denied by Pears. And the Blackburn goalkeeper's not had a lot to do, but he was excellent, plunging to his left to tip that away. 9 minutes left, Blackburn with a 1-0 lead. Here's Porteous to the corner of the penalty area. Little back heel to Ince, who's been good since coming on. Ince infield towards Shakbatadze, intercepted by Travis on the edge of the area, but Watford have won it back quickly. Ince to the left, floated ball to Martins to dink one in high, overhit, out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, and that's poor really from Martins, who I think has actually had a really good game. But I want to go back to something you mentioned about Rajovic. In terms of his movement and the link up with his teammates, and I do think you can see that they've not spent a lot of time together yet with the movements he's making. Whether he comes and drops in, no one's replacing his space, or when he's running in behind, no one's quite finding him. And I suppose those relationships take a bit of time to develop, but they're definitely not as seamless as they were earlier in the game.
It's been a very quick debut for Rajovic, given that his signing was only confirmed at the end of the week. Watford 0, Blackburn 1, but what a stop that was from Ainsley Pears. Mateus Martins must be in disbelief. He could have scored 4 today, potentially. Blackburn throw midway inside the Watford half, long up the near side touchline by Carter towards Sam Gallagher. And cleared away by Watford. Last touch was off Gallagher. That'll be a Watford throw now. In the left back position, Blackburn trying to run down the clock, but it'll all be added on, as we've seen this season, with the increase in stoppages and the increase in stoppage time. Here's Kayembe, building from deep, and sat just in front of the 2 centre-halves for Watford. He's over the halfway line now. Ngakia to his right, and Ngakia's ball inside right channel, taken down neatly by Loser. Loser crosses, blocked at the near post by Scott Wharton. Throw to Watford. And down by the corner flag. They took it quickly towards Ngakia, and it's deflected behind for a Watford corner. Watford want to take it quickly, but in the end they decide not to. And it's Tom Ince who's going to leave it on the far side for Loser, the number 10 to take. 8th corner for Watford. Hit the post once, the bar once. Goalkeeper's made a couple of great saves. Ince with the corner, punched away by Pears, but the referee spotted an infringement, and Watford will have to take the corner again. I think it was before Loser actually whipped it into the near post. Strong wind whipping through the press box. I don't think it's particularly windy pitch side though, and it's brightened up again. Watford 1-0 down, corner whipped into the near post towards Hoot, headed away. Loose ball is dropped for Martins, down by the dead ball line. Martin swings it in towards Porteous, headed clear again, this time by Sam Gallagher. Thumped away by Adam Wharton for Blackburn. Both Wharton brothers on the field now. Ince, 30 yards from goal, right of centre, cutting infield onto that left foot. Square ball to Sema. Referee has to get out of the way. Poor positioning, really, from Gavin Ward there. As Ngakia has it on the Watford right, the far side. Ngakia tackled by a stretching Adam Wharton, who goes down and is given the free kick. Blackburn resolute, 1-0 up with 5.5 to go, plus stoppage time. On Talksport 2, the Premier League matches today. You get updates from them on the Sunday session with Sam Matterface and Perry Groves over on Talksport. That's already got started. They'll have F1 updates as well. And the Premier League games today: Burnley, Villa, Sheffield United, Man City, and Newcastle against Liverpool. And the former 2 fixtures that I mentioned are both about to get underway, both 2 o'clock kickoffs. Blackburn heading for their first win at Watford in the league for 22 years. Marcus Bent scoring the winner back in 2001, the last time that happened. Then Ngakia for Watford as they seek an equaliser. That's another good tackle by Moran this time. Andrew Moran, the 19-year-old on loan from Brighton. Watford have it on the halfway line. Less than 5 to go now of normal time. Be interesting to see the reaction of the Watford fans at full time if it stays like this, because their side have played some enterprising stuff, but they're 1-0 down. Here is Hoots, left of centre, early ball in, headed away by Hyam at the middle of the Blackburn defence. It's come back now to Loser, number 10, just ahead of the centre circle. Loser drifting, and then whipping it wide to the near side, and Sema. Blackburn with everybody back. You can hear the Blackburn fans chanting Blue and White Army at the other end of the ground. Sema's delivery, had to drive that into the penalty area, but this time the covering man Hedges was there. Watford recycle possession quickly. Porteous now then seizes possession 30 yards from goal. Forward to Rajovic, spinning and turning. Square ball towards Ngakia, pokes it wide to Ince. Last few minutes here for Watford of normal time. Blackburn a goal up. Watford having to build patiently, but Blackburn are standing firm, and it's cleared away by Hyam. It'll come all the way back at them again, Courtney Sweetman-Kerr.
Yeah, anywhere will do. This is like an attack versus defence drill. Everyone in the Blackburn half, and it's wave after wave now from Watford, but they still just can't find that quality.
11 men behind the ball for Blackburn, and it's working out for them. Travis makes a tackle on Kayembe, and now Hedges on the break, the goal scorer. Gallagher making the run through the middle. Here comes the offside flag. Gallagher did just stray offside. We expected it. It was almost in line with the commentary position to the right of the halfway line. Free kick to Watford, 1-0 down Watford.
Yeah, it's a shame that, because I think it's a bit of both in terms of Gallagher's run. He's got to hold it, but Hedges as well, he can release that earlier, and again now Watford are on the attack, and it was needless.
And it's Ince, a couple of step overs down the right to the dead ball line, a right footed cross blocked on the slide by Callum Britton. Watford onto corner number 9. Still no closer though, the home fans, to seeing the ball hit the back of the net. You have to praise the commitment to the organisation of Blackburn defensively. Excellent since going a goal up, but a corner to defend. Loser in swinging in towards Kayembe, headed away, drops for Ince, could come back to Ngakia, edge of the area, Ngakia shoots low, that's come off the leg of Gallagher, dinked back into the far post by Sema, headed away this time by Britton again. Blackburn have got to keep going. 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time left. They're only 1-0 up. They're defending their goal lead. It's with Loser, high up the middle towards Porteous. It's come out to Wesley Hoot, edge of the box. Hoot trying to force his way through. Could still drop for a Watford man. Porteous down in the 18-yard box, holding his head. Nothing given by the referee. Watford thrown near side, and Gavin Ward has called a halt to play.
Yeah, I think he certainly gets a knock to the back of the head, but I just think it's two players competing there, not too much in it yet. It's just head to head. But I think this is now about Blackburn's game management. How long can they hold out? And physically it's one thing playing this way, and obviously psychologically that concentration for 90 minutes plus. We'll probably see a lot of added time as well.
If you like this on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL, we've got more live football on Saturday. As the ball is poked up the middle towards Gallagher, goalkeeper Backman got there first, had to time that perfectly. Good starting position, 10 yards outside his own penalty area, beat Gallagher to the 50-50.
Yeah, he does extremely well, and I don't know there with Gallagher, could be wrong, but I feel like he could have thrown himself into that a little bit more. I'm not saying to injure Backman, but I just feel like he pulled out at the last second there.
Valérien Ismaël said before the game, the Watford boss, they haven't been clinical enough so far this season. That's been the case today. But Blackburn heading towards stoppage time, last minute of normal time, and they're a goal to the good. I wonder how many minutes we'll see, Courtney. Maybe 6, possibly 5 or 6.
Yeah, definitely 5 or 6. So, when that comes up with the assistant, I'm sure the Watford fans will try and raise them for the last few to try and get that equaliser at least.
A goal in the game. And Blackburn have got it through Ryan Hedges. Watford have it in the left back position. Sema, good first touch away from Travis, having got it back from Chak Patadze. Sema's still a long way from the halfway line though, and Hyam has got a firm but fair challenge in there, and it's come off Sema and deflected out of play for a Blackburn throw. And some of the Watford fans, a couple in front of us, are heading for the exits now, and some of them have seen enough and resigned to defeat. We've had the 90 minutes, and now all eyes on the fourth official. He's going to hold up that electronic board. Blackburn have headed for the corner flag now with Travis. We have got 5 added minutes live on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. Sunderland against Southampton in the Championship. Our next EFL commentary, that is next Saturday at 12:30. Here is Porteous for Watford. 5 minutes then for the home team to get an equaliser. Kayembe back to Porteous midway inside the Watford half. Watford not coming forward with any great urgency. Poor touch by Rajovic on halfway. He's given it straight to Smodics. Rajovic clearly struggling to get up to pace with his new teammates. Blackburn have conceded possession. Watford throw, left back position. It's always a risk bringing on a new signing at a point where Watford, I mean, they need a goal anyway, but it was still 0-0. Rajovic has struggled since coming on, Courtney.
Yeah, and I think Bayer as well will definitely feel hard done by, because I think he's performed well, and as I say, I don't think he had the service, that his performance deserved, but I think he did a lot of good things before he was replaced.
The minute of the 5 added have been played. Watford 0, Blackburn 1, and Blackburn have got the ball where they want it. Deep inside the Watford half. Little stretch for Travis here, who's pulled up with cramp. Throw to Blackburn, level the edge of the 18-yard box. The noise you can hear is from the 1,000+ travelling fans. It'll be a long journey back to Lancashire, but it'll have been worth it if Blackburn can get over the line and secure their first away league win of the season so far. It's a victory that would take Blackburn to within 2 points of the Championship playoff places. Very early days in the season. It would be 3 without a win in the league for Watford, and actually if you include defeat on penalties to Stevenage in the Carabao Cup, 4 without a win in all competitions. Ince trying to reach the ball down the inside right channel, but it's shepherded behind and out of play for a goal kick by Scott Wharton. 2 of the 5 added have been played. Same old problems for the home team, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
Yeah, it is, and it's how you remedy that problem, is it? At the moment, I don't think Rajovic is the answer to the problem, quite frankly. He doesn't look up to speed, and yes, he probably needs minutes, and that's the only way to get that match sharpness. But I think also if they're playing him, they need to play a bit differently in terms of the build-up to get the balls in the box to him, because the way they're playing so expansive, Watford, it's not quite working.
Home sections are emptying now. 4 sides of Watford fans, and many of them heading out into the afternoon, and Blackburn are looking for a clinching goal. It's Travis up the middle, Smodics to the left. Smodics, it was over, hit the pass. He'll get to it though down by the dead ball line. Gallagher waiting for the crossbar post, and he's played it square to Moran, the sensible thing. Moran will hold the ball, hugging that left-hand touchline. Then he'll dart in between 2 yellow shirts. Into the box he goes, angle tight. Moran held up by Ngakia. Thought about the cross, and Ngakia gets the tackle in. Moran trying to wriggle away from him. And Ngakia eventually gets the better of the loanee. 2 minutes to go of stoppage time. Watford 1-0 down to Blackburn, and it's desperate times now for the home team. They have to get the ball forward. They're into the last chance saloon, and the Watford fans upset because the ball is going backwards. Hoot now forward 20 yards to halfway. Chakvatansi in the centre circle, skips away from Hyatt up towards Loser. Loser turns away from Adam Wharton. Watford look a little crestfallen mentally here. They don't look like they have ideas. And are they going to end the game a beaten side? Just over a minute to go and no great urgency from Watford. Sema back to goal, trying to turn inside left channel away from Hayden Carter. Carter does well, firm and strong. It's been an excellent defensive rearguard from Blackburn Rovers. They're a minute away from victory. Everybody back behind the ball in blue and white. Batman, the goalkeeper's now dribbled with it into the Blackburn half. That's how deep Blackburn are at this point. And Ngakia, ball to the edge of the area, headed away by Scott Wharton through a crowd. Smodics brings it down cleverly, and Gallagher's got it 10 yards from the halfway line. And Gallagher dribbles forward, and he's conceded possession needlessly. Sema for Watford, 40 seconds left. Sema shoots miles over the top. There is no urgency from Watford there, and Sema's blazed it over the crossbar. That sums up the afternoon for the home team. Watford 0, Blackburn 1. Blackburn are going to make a late change here. Travis going off, and Jake Garrett is coming on, former Liverpool and Everton academy player. But cheerio, the chant from the Blackburn supporters. There's a mass exodus at Vicarage Road, and that effort from Sema really summed up Watford's day.
Yeah, it did, but Gallagher got away with one. In terms of losing possession, it could have quite easily really been detrimental to Blackburn, but no, it wasn't in the end. But what I will say is this has probably been a defensive masterclass by Blackburn. The way the defended has been excellent, playing on the counter-attack. Travis is going off there. He's worked so hard in that midfield today. No wonder he's struggling with cramp. But I think what Blackburn have done has probably give all the teams watching sort of a blueprint to be able to nullify and stop Watford, because when you get behind the ball, they just can't seem to get behind and move the ball quick enough.
We've had 30 seconds over the 5 added, maybe 30 seconds to go because of the substitution. Garrett for Travis. Watford surging over the halfway line now with Ngakia. Vicarage Road is rapidly emptying. Long ball into the box from Tom Ince. High towards the new striker Rajovic. Heads it down. Loser! Blocked off. Crowd of Blackburn players in the way. Brilliant defending from Blackburn Rovers. Commitment and diligence and tenacity till the last. Smodix is fouled now. Free kick to Blackburn, and that surely will be there.
It will be, but it baffles me that it's taken so long to put an aerial ball into Rajovic. That's obviously his strength. He's tall, he's strong, and you can see the way that he's nodded that ball down, but it's took Watford 96 minutes to do that.
Blackburn fans chanting loud and proud to the right hand side. Lots of yellow and red empty seats in the home sections of the stadium as the referee blows the final whistle. Big win on the road for Blackburn Rovers. You might call it smash and grab, but either way, a tremendous defensive rearguard from John Dahl Tomasson's side, and their counter-attacking style paid off in the end. Ryan Hedges with the winner with 18 minutes to go, and for Watford, it's now 3 games without a win in the Championship, and more worryingly, at this early stage of the campaign, for Valérien Ismaël, 3 games without a goal. You feel they almost did everything but score. In particular, Mateus Martins will wonder how he hasn't found the back of the net. Twice he hit the woodwork. One of those efforts brilliantly tipped onto the post by the Blackburn goalkeeper Ainsley Pears. The visitors rarely threatened, but when they did in the second half, it was Hedges who broke into the penalty area, juggled the ball into the 6-yard box, and from a tight angle lashed it beyond Daniel Bachmann for what proved to be the winner. And the Blackburn players now will go over to the away section at the Vicarage Road end to our right. They'll take in the deserved applause. It wasn't necessarily pretty, but it certainly was effective, and you have to give credit to Blackburn for their defensive organisation in particular. Watford, meanwhile, continue to labour in front of goal. The final score, Watford 0, Blackburn Rovers 1. Final thoughts from Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
And as you say, Joe, look, it's not necessarily pretty, and I know fans will want to see that liquid football and playing through the thirds, but I think John Dahl Tomasson has set the team up, the team that he's been dealt with, that he's got to deal with in a way that he thought they could win the game. I think defensively they're excellent. They were in fantastic shape. Yes, on a few times Watford had a couple of decent chances where Ainsley Pears has been called into action, and obviously Watford have hit the bar and the post, but I don't think Watford caused Blackburn any real big problems. And the Blackburn players are going over to the fans now. It would have been an early start for those fans, but they've been rewarded by seeing a good performance from the team.
Well, Watford certainly showed promise in the first and second halves, but for Valérien Ismaël, Courtney, 3 games without a win, 3 games without a goal. We're only 4 games into the season, but of course we know how impatient the Watford board so often are. He's got to turn this around fairly quickly, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, and I think the decision for me to take Bayo off, I think, was probably detrimental to the team. I thought he played well, he was offering a lot. And the player that was brought on in his place, Rajovic, just didn't offer too much for me. And I get, as a manager, you bring in a new player and you're between a rock and a hard place because you probably know that they're not ready, but the only way to get match fitness is, into them is to play in. They're not in the best position, Watford, where they were 3-0 up and they can bring him on and get him fitness. So it's a difficult one, but yeah, they need to find the answer, sooner rather than later.
And just a final word on Blackburn, it's an excellent result for them, and you have to say tactically, John Dahl Tomasson ultimately gets it spot on. Brilliant save by Ainsley Pears late on too. But from what you've seen of Blackburn today, the head coach we know has called for reinforcements if they're to make another playoff challenge for the Premier League. And of course they finished just outside the top 6 last season. Is that still your view after what you've seen today? Do they still need reinforcements?
Yeah, I agree. I think, look, they set up well, they defended very well and executed the game plan as the counter-attack, but equally there's only so long you can keep soaking up, and I think a better team, a more clinical team would maybe have scored. So look, yes, they've done very well today, but I still think that need for reinforcements is there for John Dahl Tomasson's team.
Well, Courtney, welcome back from Down Under, and thanks very much as ever for your company. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk in the commentary box with us today. Lots of live football coming up on the Talksport network, including today on Talksport 2, Summer Nation Series rugby at 4:45. You'll hear commentary of France against Australia next Tuesday. We're at Craven Cottage for Fulham against Tottenham in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday, at Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against Wimbledon. Friday night on Talksport, Luton against West Ham in the Premier League, and on Saturday Talksport will bring you Sheffield United against Everton at 12:30 here on 2. Sunderland against Southampton first of all, and then at 3 o'clock Chelsea against Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. It's goodbye for now for myself, Joe Shannon, and Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. You've been listening to EFL Game Day Live here on Talksport 2, where the final score at Vicarage Road is Watford 0, Blackburn Rovers 1.